Well, we are live either way. If we are live, welcome in, everybody.
We may be live.
We are. We're live on the Professor Bauer channel.
Okay, and Geezer Geek, nothing there yet. Rumble should be up. Yep, Rumble be up. Okay. Why? I don't see it on my channel. Oh, there it is. What the hell? There's 2 lives going right now?
Oh my gosh.
How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, we got 2 lives going. 2 YouTubers.
Oh, shit. I bet that second one's supposed to be Geezer Geeks.
Oh.
Let's see here. Let's see.
I only see one on your channel.
And that's what it is. So it looks like the hell's going on here?
You're on Robert Bauer's Nexus Netcast.
Oh yeah, you are on your channel twice.
I've never seen that before.
Me either. I think you just need to go over and just end one of them. Hi, Roger Blair. How you doing?
G'day, Roger.
I think you can just go right into YouTube Studio and choose which one.
Yeah, let me see how the hell I do that here. So Geezer Geeks ain't doing it. So let me go into Studio on this one. So apparently, I didn't know you could do this, number one.
Yeah, I didn't know you could either, really.
I've never seen that before. So apparently when I was setting, making sure the keys and everything were in there, I'm in the wrong one. I must have put it all in on my channel.
Wow.
So look at there. Didn't know you could do that.
They probably didn't either.
Good grief. Too many channels and too much time off. All right, let's see here. Live and that is fucking crazy. So how do I stop your ass? No. Live. And how do I end that stream? Okay, so is the other one still going? There we go. All right.
Yep, we're good.
Well, welcome back to the show that never ends, my friends. The show that is actually getting to the point where it's almost there. You can't do a show because there's so much going on. You'd be doing a show all the time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hi, Karen.
There is so much. I mean, you can pick any direction you want to go, and there's always something going on.
There's about, I don't know, the rabbit holes are cavernous, and someplace I think they're interconnected, and I think there's some partying going on down there.
That's what we need to find. We need to find that cross section where all that party's happening and find that sweet spot.
Well, we didn't announce that we were going to do this, and we kind of decided to do it yesterday. We've taken about 6 weeks off from our regular forays on Saturday nights. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been one busy mofo. So why don't we just do a quick catch up with where everybody's at, what we've been doing the last month or so. I'll start with Clay, because you got the big one. Dude, you are picking up your shit and you are getting.
I am. We're moving this weekend. We leave Utah Monday morning, and we're heading to Des Moines, Iowa. Well, West Des Moines, Iowa, but it's basically a suburb of Des Moines. Or maybe it's another whole city called West Des Moines. I don't know, but yeah. So we been busy the last month with that, and I started a new YouTube channel doing documentaries. So I've been putting a bunch of time into that too. So yeah. So the big move. That's basically all we've been doing for the last 2 months is preparing, packing. We already got our apartment ready there. You know, all of the check marks, all the boxes are check marked, I think. But yeah, so we're excited. We're excited to move to someplace new scenery. The city's about half of the size of this one, so you know, less people is always good for me. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that was one of the things when I left Atlanta. Hell, it's going to be 9 years ago, the 17th of this month, next Thursday. And I got to tell you, I born and raised in LA and lived in Chicago for 9 years and then Atlanta for 21, traveled all over the world. And when I got to the point where I could just say, you know, I think I need to go do something else, it was because everywhere was too people-y. There was just too many peoples everywhere. And everywhere I went, there was more of them. And there was a growing cadence of just kind of these normie people that were kind of stupid. And I mean, stupid in a respectful way, in that they were just, they don't know. And what they do know makes them do things that are pretty stupid. So, I mean, we've got this shit going on in spades all over the place. But Clay, I got to tell you, when I made those moves, I didn't know shit about where I was ending up. And I went in there and I said, well, I'm going to go here and try to do this for a while. So I'm going to make sure that I try to learn what the hell's going on and what the is and isn't in this place that I'm going to be. And oh, what an experience that was. Talk about eye-opening. Holy shit. Can you imagine being born and raised in Southern California in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and then picking up and going to Chicago?
Right.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
It was.
Just so you know, Clay, we're having a cold snap here starting Monday. So for like 3 or 4 days, we're going to have 40 degrees, 50 degrees, and it's going to frost overnight. So you might want to have a sweatshirt, hoodie ready.
Thank you. Good idea. The wife was all worried about that too. She was like, man, we couldn't leave until now. We don't have a choice in the matter. So we was a little worried about hitting weather being October.
But then after that, it's going to warm up again for a while.
Well, and Utah is always pretty famous for having like a first winter about this time of year, you know, so we're kind of hoping it doesn't hit. Well, it's not going to hit now. We'll be out of Utah, but yeah, we was kind of talking about hoping the weather was going to be decent, but yeah, we'll make sure we have a jacket for sure. Thank you.
Well, enjoy your travel there. Have a safe and pleasant one, and just go with the flow. You know, don't try to push anything. Just try to go and keep your spidey senses on, and you know, and your intuition and all that stuff on front of you on the road, and you'll be fine. I did the same kind of thing when I left California to Chicago. I had a Ryder truck. I think it was an 18-foot. Towed my. Remember when they first came out with the Dodge Mini Ram vans? Remember those back in like 85?
Vaguely.
So I had just bought one of those. So we towed that behind the truck and drove to Chicago from Huntington Beach. And I timed it so that we arrived there on at the time, she was my girlfriend. She was about to be my wife and then the mother of my children. But I timed it so that we arrived on her birthday on November 14th. And I'm pulling in. We'd come across on the 80, went up 15 up and then across. And I'm pulling into this place and it's mid-November and it's brown and rusted and gray and flat. And I'm looking around here and I'm thinking, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. A year, I'm giving it a year and we're out. There's no fucking way I want to live here. I spent the next 9 years there.
Well, we've never been to Des Moines. We were planning on going to Des Moines at the beginning of summer and our car got stolen. So the money we were going to use to go to Des Moines, we had to use to get our car. So neither of us have ever been there. So the apartment we've seen through pictures and virtual tours you can do. And Mary does have a couple of friends there that said, hey, the neighborhood you picked is nice. You guys won't have any problems there. So, but yeah, I've never even seen the city. So we're really going in blindfolded, but we're optimistic. We have each other. We have the animals. We have our family. And honestly, it doesn't matter what's on the outside as long as we're together and tight on the inside. We're good.
Well, and then you've got this digital distribution platform of being able to connect with people and stuff. I mean, I don't see or talk to hardly anybody unless I get online. Yeah. I mean, and I got to tell you, I like it that way. I like the digital distance because I think that there's a lot to be said for being hunkered in the bunker during these times, which we've got to talk about once we get around the table here. So, G, what have you been up to? I know I've been seeing your face on all kinds of streams and shows and shit, and I'm going, what is G? Is he got himself into G string or something? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, gee whiz, since we took a hiatus a little bit unplanned from Geezer Geeks, all of a sudden all these guest shows started popping up. I've been on Cryptid Huntress. I've been on several other ones. And then we added Tuesdays to our lineup on Midwest because we were booked all the way through December. We had people contacting us like, all right, well, let's just do a day in the afternoon during the week and see how it goes. And it's working out really well. So we have 2 shows now, Tuesdays and Sundays. And of course, we got Geezers, and I'm doing a podcast of Dennis Carroll on Monday nights on his channel. So staying pretty busy.
Well, I mean, I guess if you need to get your geese on, you might as well go do it on your own shows and other people's shows and shit. Just do a show just do a shit show. Right. What about the you dropped some videos on the corn getting harvested?
Yeah, we had it's time of year, with a farmer that owns the farm the field right behind us, which our house and barn used to belong to that. We bought it off of them before the current farmer took over the field. And they're out there harvesting. And so we got 2 or 3, I think 3 or 4 days, I guess, of them out there in the combine and the semis and the grain trucks hauling out the corn. And so now we got a big wide open space again where we can start having our cameras pointed out towards the field to see what creeps out there at night, plus the sky. I uploaded a lot of pictures of the Northern Lights that came all the way over top of our house this year, went all the way down to southern U.S. It's like that's unusual. We can barely see them on a good time when they say we're supposed to in Illinois, let alone hitting the southern states this time.
Yeah, and down in Texas, people were saying they were seeing it down in Texas.
So yeah, we've been just busy making music videos on Jane's channel and Midwest Night Watchers, having a lot of guests and new shows, and still filming the outside and still doing animal chores and trying to get ready for winter because winter is coming.
Yeah.
It waits for no one.
Yeah, now I've been fortunate. I've been out west here for the last, 10 years or so. So I've kind of climated out here. So that first winter in Iowa is probably going to be a little rough on us.
Actually, you'll probably have a little milder winters compared to where you're at, I would assume, at least some of it.
Well, hopefully.
Well, the difference, though, in my opinion, because I've lived in the West, I moved to Colorado when I left Atlanta 9 years ago, and I'm in New Mexico now. But I'm in what they call the high plains. I'm actually higher than Denver.
Oh,
I'm 1,000 feet high and higher in elevation than Denver, but it's a flat. It's the plains. But the difference between the West and in particular the Midwest storms, in my experience, is there's a shitload more moisture going down in the Midwest, and you get the storms with the tornadoes and so forth, like what we've seen in Florida, which is way past what's happened in North Carolina, but that shit, when I had that first couple of winters in Chicago, and I'd never seen 100-degree temperature swing before.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent my teens, 10 through about 20, on the Colorado River, and I 115 lathered. I didn't even lather. I just laid out there in it and roasted. I get back to Chicago and I go through the first year of seasons, and there's only 2 seasons in Chicago. There's winter and then there's construction. Because they're fixing everything that broke during the winter because of 100-degree temperature swing, and none of the infrastructure can take that. It just crumbles. The Dan Ryan, the 90, oh my God. The 115th Street on the south side is where it just starts getting nasty. And I lived further south than that. I was in South Holland. But holy shit, I'd get up and there'd be like 3 or 4 feet of snow out there. And the thing that made it workable and survivable is Chicago's laid out in a grid. It's east and west, north and south. And people that had lived there for any length of time, you tell them 115th and 74th, and you go, I know exactly where that's at.
Right.
And because it's all flat, it's easier to plow. You have less, even though every year it blew me away how these people who were born and raised there, every winter, after decades of living there, the first snow and ice was like they'd never seen it before when they drove. It was like, oh shit, what's this stuff? Oh, fuck, that's right. And that blew me away. But it was easier to plow, obviously, because of the grid layout, and it's flat. So there wasn't, now down in Atlanta, when we had that freeze, was it 2012 or somewhere, it was a big deal. We had an inch of ice. And Atlanta is an undulating terrain, just like the Pacific Northwest. And the roads are all old sawmill and animal trails. So there's shit's going like this. It took me 10 hours to get to my daughter, who was stranded at a Irish pub. And she was 6 miles away, and it took me 10 hours to get there. Anyway, I digress. But anyway, so yeah, I think that the winters are worse in the Midwest. There's more, you get more wind too.
Yeah.
And that lake effect snow shit, that is not for me. It's just like it comes up out of nowhere. It's like a storm of snow comes flying at you off the water, and you go, whoa, what's that? It's like what do they call those sand storms?
Oh yeah,
that name
hoodoo? No, is it hoodoo?
What do you call them? There's a name for them.
Yeah.
Anyway, Habib's or something, but
yeah,
Habib.
Yeah, no, I had enough of the Midwest, and then I moved to a place that was at least had better weather, but it only to a certain degree. because Atlanta was hot and humid, just like Chicago was hot and humid. But the mosquitoes down in the Southeast are plentiful, and the ones up in Chicago and the Midwest are like B-52s. They come and they grab you, pick you up, drop you in their nest, and then munch on you.
Yeah.
And I am a classic entree on the mosquito menu. So anyway,
real quick, Claudette jumped into the chat. Karen jumped into the chat.
Hey everybody.
Heidi Pop just jumped into the chat.
Heidi, Claudette, Karen, welcome.
Claude2.
We're just
Claude2.
Oh yeah. Welcome everybody. We haven't been on for a while, as you guys probably know if you pay any attention, but most of you probably don't care. It's just like, wait a minute, these guys are on. I'll stumble across them. But we've all taken a break, and we've been all extremely busy with a whole bunch of stuff not related to geezers or geeking, but kind of. But that's not what we do here. We cast the geezer gaze on the gaggle of crap that's going on, and there's clearly a bunch of shit going on, which is why we titled tonight's show "Where Are We Now?" Because we've only got a few weeks until we've got some major events about to happen. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, B, haven't seen you around for, fortunately, too long.
Well, yeah, well, when you get my age, I think a lot of people that would understand my age at 74. I mean, my body doesn't like winters very well, you know, I mean, with the arthritis setting in. But I'm not a happy bee when I'm not feeling the best, but I do keep myself busy. At the moment, we've got a visitor in from Hong Kong that's staying with us until next week, and she's been here a couple of weeks already. But over the last few months, I've been actually generating some of this AI documentaries, as Clay knows what it's all about. Mm-hmm. Very interesting, good toys to play with. But what I have been really enjoying doing basically lately is rehearsing my own country songs I generated up. Wrote my own lyrics and everything else. And now I'm serenading my wife all the time with it now. And she loves it. Country style. I like country. And in my younger days, I was very much into space rock. There was a few bands out there that was really good on what I call space rock. There was one band called Auquin, which I had the pleasure of playing with many years ago as a stand-in rhythm guitarist when their rhythm guitarist OD'd and was put in hospital for a few days. So I was called up, but I had to stand in the shadows in the back, not show my face. But that's a long time ago, another time. But yeah, I've been working on my music, which I thoroughly enjoy, very relaxing. Talking about weather, well, you know, I mean, it's always winter. It never wants to let go. And you'll find when summer comes, summer doesn't want to let go when autumn comes, or what you guys call fall. So it seems to hang on, doesn't want to let go. But yes, it's. I think we're going to have a scorcher this year in Perth, Western Australia. Looking how the trend is going everywhere else, I think we're going to be hitting 43 degrees Celsius here, maybe 44 Celsius here in Western Australia this year. It's the weather's really starting to warm up now. Blue skies outside, beautiful days, chilly nights. So before long, it'll be hot nights and everything. But otherwise, everything's the same. I'm starting to come back doing my live shows. I'll be doing it on a Monday my time, which would be Sunday morning your guys time, so, or Sunday evening, I should say, your time. So yeah, I've got a few guests kind of lined up and a few things, and of course my geezer geeks, the odd one or two will jump in when they feel like it to come and say hello, but they're always welcome, you know that. We're a band of brothers in this industry, so. And we just like ragging each other, don't we? Don't we, Robert?
Never let a good opportunity go to waste, right?
No, that's right. Anyway, I'll put it back to you there, Robert.
Well, that sounds great. I tried to, well, I was on the road, but I chimed in on your show the other night in the chat, and seen some of your music stuff that you're doing, and I think you're starting to find some kind of little space there that works for you, and you should keep pursuing that. Same thing with the AI documentaries. I mean,
Thank you.
I gotta tell you guys, just on the tech front, the stuff that we started doing about 6 months ago has all gone through a huge bunch of changes.
Yeah.
And I'm actually glad that we took this break, because the stuff that I've been working on during that break is all the shit that we've been doing, and it's all changed dramatically. There's a lot of stuff. One of the reasons I'm on Rumble tonight instead of the Riverside is Riverside does outstanding with all the AI tools, but there's a handful of new AI podcast tools that do exactly what Riverside does and a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there going, all right, this is competition and capitalism at its finest. And as you guys have heard me blather on about, AI is nothing more than an expert system. It's designed to do a specific task and nail the shit out of it. And it does a great job now. And it's going to keep getting better. And we're going to...
and as you know, Robert, it's boys and their toys. We enjoy it.
Well, yeah. I mean, all the shit that we were doing, when we started the Geezer Geeks and the Saturday Night Show, G and I were just going in and poking at fucking anything that showed up as a piece of tech. It's like, oh, you do what? Okay, let's see you do it. And we went in and we poked on everything. So I'm really glad that we have taken this break, because there's, like, for example, Rumble, right? Well, Rumble now is starting the ad model, and I can't. So you got to subscribe just like you do on YouTube. I've been on premium for 6 or 7 years. I haven't seen an ad on anything on YouTube for that long. So ads to me are antithetical.
Yeah. Same.
But they started rolling it out on Rumble, and a couple of my favorite channels, they even have separate services where the content creators can stream to their own platforms without the ads. Well, Rumble turned on the ad thing last week, and it went across everything. So there was a bunch of content creators that were getting complaints from their members who were supposed to get ad-free on their platforms, and like, okay, that didn't go too well. They're getting it fixed, but now I get an ad all the time, go premium, go ad-free, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that, because I just can't stand these ad placements in the middle of a good conversation, a good podcast. I just, no. And people who aren't, if you don't have a YouTube premium account, it's $15 a month. It is, you won't get that level of content across anything that you want, from anything you can think of, from any other streaming, anything. You can't get it from cable. You're going to pay 4, 5, 10 times that, and you're not going to get the content that's on YouTube.
Right.
And what's interesting is that most of the regular legacy Mockingbird media, the CBS's, NBC's, the global media, they put their shit on YouTube too. So, I mean, and you'll get live streams now. YouTube TV is still pricey, but holy shit, you're getting everything. Yeah. You are getting the live streams from all the networks and all of that.
Yeah, but you find even Twitter now, you got to pay for it. You go want to upload your show to Twitter. Oh, they won't do it unless you get their premium.
Well, the thing is that people have to realize and think through the mechanics at the first principles nugget perspective. When you get something that's free and you use the shit out of it, and then all of a sudden it costs money for these people to do it, and you have to start paying for it, and you grow, it's like, no, think about it. And they're all going that way. So right now, just to give you an example, I've got 5 or 6 AI tools that I'm paying a monthly fee for. I have 4 or 5 data feeds, things like YouTube, Twitter, or X, and all of that. And then I have some development tools. And that is about $150 a month. And so what I'm saying is I'm getting all the content that I can consume that I want. And I can make all the content that I want to make to put out for $150 a month. And that is going to, it's going to fluctuate. It's going to sit in there. And my point is that all of the services, the things that are worth being on, going and making content for and consuming from, it's going to cost you something. Now, what's interesting to me is that a lot of these tools, particularly the AI tools, are starting to get into even a bit of a pricing war.
They are very expensive.
They're all in the anywhere from $10 to $30 a month.
Yeah.
And they're competing with each other.
Well, and that's not even for the full, that's not unlimited uses. That they're only giving you so many uses for that amount. Now, if you want more uses than that, then you have to pay the higher tiers.
And that's
because why? Because it's based on tokens.
Right.
Where have you heard that term before? Okay, I'll say it. Me. Tokenization of everything is what's happening. And this is the first real visible aspect of its implementation and its deployment. But let me back up. I went on kind of a rant there because I did want to share that with you guys, that I've been working on all these different toys and tools and figuring this out and figuring that out. I'm going, whoa, there's a bunch of change going on here. Oh, look at these new toys. Oh, fuck, look what I can do with this. So, and that's just in the last month. So there is an accelerated deployment and configuration of all these different AI tools or what people are calling AI tools. That's not what they are. They're expert systems using coding over big data structures that have gathered some ability to have mimicry of some way to construct things. That's all it is. It's not all this magic shit. It's not the Carrie Cassidy floating around alien in the air going to change your DNA type thing. That's not going to happen. That can't happen. But boy, can it do some good shit when it's applied to it properly. This is a great example of technology being used in a way that is very productive and positive. Because what it's doing is it's taking tasks that we would normally do, and it's automating those tasks. And it has the ability to go interrogate much more data than we can in the way that we function. But it can bring it back to us and we can go, oh, nah, I didn't think about that. I didn't know about that. I'm going to put that into my next model. So we're going to see more changes in this space that are going to be fairly profound. And we might as well get into one of the profundities that I wanted to talk about of my 2 or 3 topics tonight, that I will also announce it here. I'm going to be on Fade to Black with Jimmy Church a week from Monday, and I'm going to be talking about some of this technology stuff, as well as some informatica and a few other things. So that'll be Monday the 21st. So get more of it there with Jimmy, and I'm looking forward to that. I want to talk some guitars with Jimmy.
Yeah, fade or not.
That's right. So with that said, let's pull up the first one. Now let's do this in kind of a round robin. I'll do one, Clay, you do one, G, you do one, and Terry, you do one, and then we'll go around the horn again. Does that sound fair?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Make sense? All right. Let me see here. This is the first one. Okay. Right. Charest.
Hi, Polly.
Yeah, Karen, I see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Where are we? We got this. Okay. Let me make sure that. How do you work Rumble again? Where is that share screen thingy? There it is. Okay. She's loading here. Let's see if I can refresh it.
Optimus Gen 2 robots to
Guys
work
got
at the company's We Robot event, serving drinks, handing out gift bags, posing for photos with attendees, and dancing. Musk also shared his vision for how these robots might fit into people's lives. Here's everything you need to know.
And one of the things we wanted to show tonight was that Optimus is not a canned video. The Optimus robots will walk among you.
Elon Musk and Tesla held their We Robot event at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, California. After dropping 2 brand new self-driving cars, Musk introduced several Optimus Gen 2s and laid out his vision for human-humanoid relations.
It'll basically do anything you want. So it can be a teacher, babysit your kids, it can walk your dog, mow your lawn, get the groceries, just be your friend, serve drinks. I think this will be the biggest product ever of any kind.
What's really new about all this Optimus footage is the fact that people are getting a chance to interact with these robots, which is important for building trust, especially if these things are meant to go into people's homes. The robots handed out gift bags and drinks, similar to previous skills we've seen from the robots in Tesla's promotional videos. Dancing, similarly, has been a part of Tesla Bot's marketing from the beginning, back when it was just a person in a robot suit. Even more broadly, it's been an industry trend since Boston Dynamics went repeatedly viral with videos of its Spot and Atlas robots dancing. This type of interaction with the public isn't something we've seen a lot of in the humanoid robotics field. Aside from robots working as attractions at places like the Sphere or Disney's theme parks, robots often stay in the lab until they're nearly ready for production or a limited release to strategic partners, developers, or educational institutions. It's also unique that Musk combined the rollout of his robotaxi and robovan with this public showing of Optimus's abilities. Musk has long said that Tesla's self-driving technology basically makes its cars robots on wheels. Its years of work in self-driving technology also allowed it to develop its robots without needing to partner with companies like NVIDIA, which announced Project Root earlier this year, or OpenAI, which has backed humanoid robot startups like Figure and 1X. Musk had previously said that the Optimus robots would someday cost less than the price of a car. Today, he reaffirmed that claim, saying that down the road, once Tesla can produce the robots at scale, they would likely cost between $20,000 to $30,000. The event's name, We Robot, is a play on iRobot, the sci-fi action film featuring Will Smith, as well as the short story collection by Isaac Asimov where the film gets its name. Musk's a fan of science fiction and of Asimov in particular, and he often finds ways to weave sci-fi references into the marketing campaigns for his various companies. To see some hidden sci-fi
So, what did you think about little Optimus there?
I want one. I definitely want one. Where do I sign up? 20, 30K doesn't seem bad for a robotic.
Where the hell did B go?
His internet dropped.
Ah. So, yeah, so you think that initial price is kind of reasonable for? I mean, did you see the videos of where the robots were out there interacting in the crowd?
Yeah.
Now I know
talking to people and having conversations.
There's a famous rapper called 2 Chainz, and he's already ordered one. Now, I'm thinking they're kind of going to be like vehicles. You can get different levels of memory, maybe different abilities, you know, different downloads.
Spinning rims and twice pipes.
So, you know, 20, 30K might be the base model. You know, that might be the AM, FM cassette radio model. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you want the Blaupunkt, you know, full surround system, you can. It's an extra coin or two.
Trick out my robot.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
it's gonna happen.
So back we were talking. Well, I guess it was before we went on. We were talking about Apple, how they years ago they were going to come out with their own self-driving car, right? That was a big deal. And I kind of see, even though Google and Apple have done so well, they have been business case after business case of how not to do shit. Remember all of Google's the Google Docs and all of the suite that they tried to come out with? I forgot what it called, OneNote or something. I think it was something called else. But they tried to compete with Microsoft and the Office suite, and it was just an abysmal failure. And then it failed so bad they came out with an upgrade. The same thing happened when they dropped their AI Gemini earlier this year, and it was, you know, just it was an embarrassment. And then it came out with a new one. Now it's free, and it's actually does some pretty good shit, especially for YouTubers. Okay, think about this: the fact that Google owns YouTube, right?
Yep.
Well, if Gemini is made by Google, then it's going to have extra intelligence built in to go when you want to create content and look for the uniqueness and the aspects of the content that's going to make a difference, that has the viral characteristics, the viral nature. So it might be something worth looking into. You know,
I may or may not be testing some Google software right now.
I know it's every other day. It seems like my tablets or phones or whatever, Google pops up like we have something new. You know, it's always AI this, AI that. You know, they're adding services just to regular Google itself.
I test stuff for YouTube, not Google. So I guess there's a little bit of a difference there. But there is some new, I'm not going to mention anything about it, but I'm just saying there's some new AI technology coming to YouTube, and I can't talk about it because I signed a whatchamacallit.
NDA.
You signed you're going to be in trouble if you say anything document. Yeah.
But there is going to be here within the next few months a really big upgrade for AI creation on YouTube. So
there should be a geezer geek clause in that contract. I mean, come on.
Well, so Clay, then you must, what I was saying about just the change in the last couple of months, about the profundity of it, you concur with that observation?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it's hard to keep up with them because I swear every day I get a new post about either the breaking new top of the line AI open source machine, and so you can go check it out, but the very next day there's a new one. So I mean, the technology is just doubling so fast, it's hard to keep up with right now.
And you know, one of the ironies maybe as a reason for that, they're using the AI tools to make better AI tools.
Right.
Yeah, use AI to better it. So
and when you think of how that compounds, there is a limit. There's a threshold of efficiency that it will reach based on the limited amount of data that is the data, not necessarily limited. The data will continue to accrue, and there'll be a larger database to interrogate, but it won't have anything. It will reach a limit, and that's one of the problems right now with the current systems. When you execute a prompt, it's only looking at static data. It's only looking at the last instance of the data. it doesn't have any fluidity in being able to go, oh, there's a change in that one. Oh, let me bring that variable and that change back into the data that I gathered before. That's a whole nother geek thing. But anyway, I'm thinking, what do you think, G? You gonna get you one of those? You gonna have an Optimus run around the farm?
You know, I still pictured iRobot, just like it said in the video. As soon as I saw that, I thought, oh man, that's iRobot. It's like that. I don't know about that. But, you know, the older I get, you know, we're going to have somebody help us. Either we'll have to get rid of our animals or we're going to have somebody. I mean, just to buy one to have them out there mowing the yard would be worth it.
Right.
You see a robot riding a tractor around there, just tilling some shit and blowing some hay out.
Be a good corn chucker.
Oh man.
No, I agree. I think eventually it might seem strange at first, but I think everybody will get used to it, and we'll start trusting, you know, the software. There'll be limits and filters on it that'll stop it from somebody stupid like me trying to get it to light a dynamite and throw it out in the field or something. I'm hoping, but you know.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
I think there's clearly a lot more to come on this front, and it's I think the announcement this week, I think the timing is very interesting. I think that there's, as we've been talking for our last 6 months of Geezers, we've seen some shit, and when we see some shit, all of a sudden that shit shows up, and we go, hey, say, it's like that meme with Leo DiCaprio. He's coming out of the chair. He's going, oh, I saw. See, I told you, I saw that.
Exactly.
So we're getting a lot of that. I
mean, I just watched a video the other day of an app programmer. He used AI and he said, this is what I want my app to do. And he was just sitting back and it was just writing code after code, line of it after line of it. And then it also kind of self-diagnosed itself and said, hey, we need to make changes. Or if you want to add this, this is how we're going to do it. So it's like he's being paid this money where he was the one that used to sit there and think of all this stuff and write it. Now he's just like, yeah, do this for me, and I'll kind of check it when you're done.
And it can be done in seconds compared to days or weeks that you might have taken you before.
And you know, and this guy, he had this kind of what we talked about. He had like 3 or 4 different screens open, and he had multiple apps going at the same time, you know, being written and tested out, you know, so instead of one programmer working on a game or an app, he's got like 4 or 5 things going on at one time, and he's not extending his brain power necessarily to do it until the very end where it's like, oh, well, I don't think that code worked, or I want to change this. And that's it.
Well, and that's what's really interesting. And I think where people at the same time, it's part of what adds to the FUD and the fear mongering and the fear factor. If you take what we're talking about logically, you can see where it should, given unlimited resources, it should compound itself into something that would seem to have sentience. It would seem to have enough reason and experience and data to mimic something like reasoning. But there's no, you can't code reasoning. You can mimic the aspects of reasoning and you can program that, but you can't create organic reasoning. It's like you can't program organic curiosity, imagination, intuition, motivation, any of that. There is no way to program that because you can't be defined because it's not in the physics that we have. Our physics is just, it's all wrong. It's done great things because it has capitalized on an aspect of reality and it's been able to manipulate and manifest the materium in that way. But you get outside where all the real shit's going on in the Ethereum, they can't handle that because that's just not in that model. But there's some amazing shit going on in the physics world. Now, I don't want to go down that score yet. I've got one more I wanted to show on the Robo thing here, and that was, you said you hadn't seen the cab and the van. So let's take a look at.
So.
Let's take a look at that just to finish off, because hey, if you've got a robot that can do shit, all right, run down to the store and get me a 6-pack. Get your ass back here.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
I can't have my robot walking down the street. He's got to go in style, man.
Right. I mean, he's got to be driving. All right. So here we go. Let's see here.
At Tesla's We Robot event in LA overnight, a glimpse at what could be the future of driving.
We have 50 fully autonomous cars here tonight.
CEO Elon Musk unveiling what he says is the company's first fully self-driving robotaxi. The two-door cab with no steering wheel and no pedals is powered by AI and will cost around $30,000.
We'll see autonomous cars become 10 times safer than a human.
The new car is expected to hit the road by 2027. Musk also announcing a robo-van that can carry up to 20 people.
The future should look like the future. Now, can you imagine going down the streets and you see this coming towards you?
And that wasn't all.
So you can have your own personal R2-D2 C3PO.
Check out Tesla humanoid robot Optimus.
It can do anything you want. So it can be a teacher, babysit your kids. It can walk your dog, mow your lawn.
It's the first product launch for Tesla since the Cybertruck was announced with a bang in 2019.
Oh my God.
Thursday's event marking a milestone for the automaker and Musk, whose self-driving dreams have been delayed by almost a decade. Today, Teslas with full self-driving capabilities still need a human in the driver's seat, ready to take the wheel if something goes wrong.
You must be fully attentive and have your hands on the wheel at all times while driving.
And even that tech is under scrutiny. Earlier this year, federal regulators said a critical safety gap in Tesla's self-driving systems contributed to at least 467 collisions, including 14 deaths. Now Tesla's Taxi is veering the company into a lane with stiff competition.
It's just me and the steering wheel here.
Google's Waymo cars have now logged more than 22 million driverless miles across 4 cities. But Tesla already has the highest selling EV in the world.
Let's get the party started.
And with its new ride, the company could go into overdrive.
And guys, there's still a couple of big questions. The first, whether the robo-taxis will be made in time. New Tesla models kind of have a track record of a lot of delays and changes. And then once the Cybercab is ready to go, regulators still need to give it the green light. So at this point, all dates, including for Optimus there, seem to be optimistic.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to Today.
That was awesome.
Yeah, pretty sweet, huh?
Yeah. I just watched a video the other day of a lady booking. I don't know if she used Uber or not, but it wasn't a Tesla, but she got a self-automated car to take her from the airport to her hotel across town. And she sat in the back and there was no driver, no nothing. It just went through the town, and it was a good ride for her. And she was kind of nervous at first, but then she kind of relaxed and enjoyed the ride.
I seen a story of a lady that went to auto park her Tesla. So she got out, went in the driveway, went to auto park it. Instead of it reversing into her driveway, it took a right turn and took off.
Yeah, and Karen was just saying in the chat, fry your body, fry your booty. The microwave radiation is insane in those cars, and those looking going in.
Oh,
Um,
after the hurricane incidents, I wonder if there's any lockouts of them accidentally going into water with the lithium batteries, where all those fires have been starting in people's garages and houses.
Oh yeah.
Well, and you heard about the ones in the tornadoes in Florida. That you get salt water around lithium, and apparently it becomes a combustible incendiary event.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. All those fires
Yeah.
that were happening in people's houses and stuff, and in their garages, and it's like, oh, I never thought about the lithium batteries, eh?
Well, what's interesting is that hydrogen is going to replace all this, which I mean, Musk has got to know this, and he's got to be either working with, I mean, Samsung's got a whole engine that Toyota's doing right now. This is the stuff I was talking about and have been yammering on about ad nauseum. We're going to see the rollout of tech, and we're starting to see it. We're seeing it in the AI with just all it is highly efficient data interrogation and carefully crafted interrogation of that data, which is the prompt. And if you now have all of this data of, being able to do images and videos and clean up things, Photoshop, I mean, the plugins that are starting to come out for Adobe's trying to save its ass. And because everybody, Canva's killing it. If you haven't got on Canva, go have some of that magic right.
Right. I mean, just on your phone, your Android and iPhones now. I mean, they all have object removers, and you can take out the backgrounds and put whatever you want.
You can
in
put
there.
shit in. You can change the. There's a new one. This I think it's not Opus Clip. It might be, but they've got a tool where you can take a shot that you've created, background, and then you've got a person you put in there, and you can take and then do a light and position it around the room.
Right.
And it takes into account the background, where you're at, the objects that are in the image, and you're like, that's some pretty good shit right there.
Not only photos, but videos. You can take people out of videos. You get rid of their shadows. You can get rid of anything in it, and it looks like they were never there.
Well, that's where the back in 2017, when I was working with the encryption company, we started hearing about the deep fakes. And so what? That's 7 years ago now. And people were getting kind of wound up about, there's these deep fakes. It's like, this ain't deep fake. You ain't seen nothing yet. Shit that's coming down the pike is going to blow your way. So I think we are seeing the part of the great reveal. And Jason Patrick, if you are anywhere near stumbling around and even listening in the back channels on this, that's for you, buddy. You keep asking me, what is this great reveal? When are you going to see it? Can you give me some details? It's like, yeah, shit's going to start popping out that's going to blow your mind and change the way you think about reality. Have you seen any of that lately?
I mean, we've been in the great reveal for how long now? I mean, every day we have something new come out. It might not be a mind-blowing, extravaganza, but, it's kind of like having the frog in the pot and turning up the heat a little bit every day. It's kind of getting to that. It's like, okay, what's tomorrow going to bring? A little bit more. What's tomorrow going to bring? A little bit more. And pretty soon you're not going to be able to see that dot in the past.
Well, and that's one of the other things that makes it even more challenging. At the same time, more interesting is not only has the volume increased, but the velocity has increased. So there's much more speed in that which is in the volume. And it's you kind of have to bob and weave on it. And yet another reason is I think talked about before we got on the air here, that I enjoy doing the hunker in the bunker mode. I am very happy to sit back and watch it from a distance. and to limit the amount therein, and whatever that when you get into the hermit mode, you have much more control over the shit that you encounter.
Yep. It's amazing. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, like we've talked about, you know, it's sometimes it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. And sometimes you got to look at the motion to see if it matches up with the audio and some of the videos and stuff that we've been seeing. People's been faking the hurricane, you know, whether it was in North Carolina or Florida. People have been putting out videos showing this horrific wind and destruction. It's like, well, wait a minute, it hasn't even reached landfall yet, and you're giving me these videos that like it's already happened.
Well, and people are using them for GoFundMe's as well, so you got to watch out for that. It's good to, you know, to contribute just to relief, for the relief of some of these places, but there sure is a lot of scams out there right now. Everybody's taking money for North Carolina. Everybody's taking money for Florida. Look on Facebook. I mean, there's a GoFundMe every other thing for somebody.
And that was a good humanitarian thing that Elon did give out all those Starlinks to that area of North Carolina and all over the affected areas for free, you know, to get them communications, whether it's up in the Appalachians or wherever they got lost of their communications and even roads to get anywhere. At least they were able to get, you know, those given to them so they can actually start reaching out to people and say, hey, we're up here, or, you know, we need this, we need that, or medical attention.
I saw some of I'm always highly entertained by the people who are suffering some severe mental fornication and parasites, because when they lose their shit over shit, it's so entertaining. So I was watching a bunch of people going off on Musk, Trump and Musk, and there was a call or there's something and blah, fucking blah. And I'm listening to it and I'm watching it.
The dark MAGA has come out.
Yeah. They're going, oh, Elon's just, stupid billionaire. And then, buddying up with Trump, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, let's see. Elon just dropped some technology to help support the rescue efforts free of charge because he could. And, by the way, last week he actually rescued 2 astronauts that were stuck in
there. Yeah. That wasn't going to happen until 2025.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
For a year.
I'm sorry. What is it that you've done? And what are you giving this guy shit for and about? I just, when you see the disconnect from cognitive clarity of reality, it's just, you go, and so we're getting that in spades. We got the whole crazy shit that's going on with this so-called election thing that we do here, and we're going to get into that as well.
You know, it's amazing that the current administration blocked Elon from putting his Starlink in there, and then all of a sudden Elon provides it, and the Cajun Navy and all these other places are getting these Starlinks and taking them to the people, at least 200 or more Starlinks. And the government comes out and says, well, we've secured 30 to bring to the areas. And then they try to take credit for talking to Elon when it wasn't even them that talked to Elon to get the Starlink available to these people. It's like, are you kidding me?
I think that it's clear that what's happening is people they're finding out that the narrative it fell apart a long time ago. And the more they try to do, the worse it gets. one observation I heard, it sounded kind of like it had some validity to it, was, everybody talks about the powers that be and the elite and the cabal and, the global syndicate and, Mr. Globaloni, whatever.
Right.
There's some group among groups of groups, because I think it's more like a kind of a mafioso kind of family model. You got different factions that go along to get along, but they're secretly, they're all a bunch of little fucking fiefdoms, little Napoleons in general. But anyway, they're fighting amongst themselves, and they've been fighting amongst themselves because there's all this diversity, inclusion, and equity. Because, hey, what's the key thing the way we do our shit? Well, everybody gets included. You mean including the dumb shit over there? Oh, yeah, the dumb shit can come in here too. Oh, what about the assholes? We got to have a sprinkle of assholes in here because we are inclusive. So their whole model, and I'm obviously being hyperbolic and also general, but directionally it's correct, in my opinion. So these people have, they've screwed themselves under their own thinking and planning because of the highly limited perspective and energetic frequency that they vibrate at. That frequency that they vibrate at has been supported by a cycle that is beyond our space. It's in the cosmos, and that's the cyclical events of astronomical energies that occur. And the age of enlightenment, you can really just nail it down right around 1700, when all of the Enlightenment age started coming along, and Descartes came in and separated the invisible and the visible, and the science took the visible, the invisible went to the church, and mind of man, gods, angels, all that shit. So once that split happened, that was when all of a sudden we were supposed to be enlightened by all of this science that was defined by Descartes as basically what eventually became the quantum model, which is billiard balls, atoms, and shit. And that describes everything. Well, that's not the way stuff is. Those are snapshots of an instant, of a wave of frequency and energy that is in motion, because that's what it does. They don't think about it that way, so they got sideways. So I went down that little rant to bring up one of the latest little news items that came out, that 59% of all peer-reviewed submitted papers in the top journals had to be removed because they couldn't be replicated. But they were peer-reviewed. Now, for those who don't know what peer review means, it's pretty simple. I'm one of the guys that's in your kind of field. I looked at your shit. Yeah, it's good. The peer review process has been broken and corrupted and bullshit in our sciences for decades. But now it's in overdrive. There's nothing going on in the sciences, in the mainstream science model, that has produced anything new, that has had some major discovery. It's always theoretical. It's always math, men, models, and machines. And it can't explain UAPs. It can't explain propulsion. It can't explain 0-point technology, 0-point energy. They can't explain why these things could even possibly be possible, because they don't fit into that paradigm. But what's coming out? All of a sudden, we've got all kinds of, and they're based on geometry. We have all these devices that extract water from the air. Because guess what? Water's in the air.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
you have not only the push towards using electricity, it is our primary source of energy that we use for all things, or for the majority of functioning. So we are an electricity-driven energy model. Once we move to plasma, we won't have the model of electricity that we have today, but we could use our current devices, but there will be new devices that will enable the interaction with plasma energy.
Right.
That is in the atmosphere too. That's going to take a while. I think we'll see it within 10, maybe less, 10 years. Depends on who's fighting over it and what the conditions of stuff are, because that's the other thing about this whole disclosure bullshit, which is, I'll go ahead and bring up my last one because this will be a short one. And then we'll move on to you guys. So one of our fellow geezers doesn't like this guy very much. Or he thinks he's full of shit. And there's a lot of people that have this opinion. Hold on a second here. Is it? Let's see if I get it here. There it is. All right. So we keep talking about all this, Terry goes on about, I saw this in the sky and this and that. And he's got his stuff. And a lot of people we know that we talk with on a regular basis have had all kinds of encounters with stuff flying in space and in the air and all over the place. And, we've basically said, hey, this is, the whole thing's turned into ufology. Same thing with the paranormal folks, in my opinion. Paranormal, all of that is paraphology. There's just everybody's vying for stuff. They're arguing with each other. They don't get along. None of them have any real evidence, all a bunch of empirical stuff, but okay, it's still data. Well, Stephen Greer has just dropped the Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive. Tell me what you think of this.
It will be the largest disclosure in history on the subject. So the disclosure you're all asking for, we're about to drop that to the public.
We are delighted to announce that the Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive is now accessible to the public at dpiarchive.com. Although operational, the archive is in its initial development stage. The DPIA is already a robust tool, but it is not yet the final product. We are committed to its continuous enhancement, which includes refining the existing content, improving organization, and integrating new information regularly.
This is the disclosure. There won't be a hearing.
We felt it was critically important to launch this archive now, prioritizing open access to information over perfection.
We need to take the lead. Humans who understand this need to take the lead. And to do that, we need to have certain segments of society get up to speed very quickly, which is one of the reasons for this Disclosure Project Intelligence Archive.
To keep this resource free and accessible to everyone, we rely on your support. Please visit our crowdfunding site at dparchiveproject.com to contribute. Your contributions will enable us to improve and expand this valuable resource. This extensive development is projected to span several years, given that it encompasses over 33 years of material.
It is going to be, a lot of it's going to be very shocking to the public.
We are currently seeking an experienced digital archivist to help lead these efforts. If you have expertise in refining, labeling, and categorizing complex data sets, we would be excited to hear from you. Until we are able to secure a suitable specialist, the archive will remain a work in progress. Thank you.
So what do you guys think about that?
Well, we definitely need more transparency. I've never seen that before. It's pretty intense. I went over to check out the website, but you actually got to register with them before you can see anything.
Yeah, and all you have to do is register. Just an email. It doesn't cost you anything.
Not yet.
I don't think he plans to keep it free. That's why he's crowdfunding it. He
I
did.
think it's a good thing.
He did all of his movies, which are superb movies, on his own nickel. He crowdfunded them. You know, if I look at observationally the data that I see coming from Greer, I don't think anybody's doing a more credible, intense job than him. Not Dolan, not, Michael Schratt works with Greer, does a lot of that stuff, and Michael's in that class, and clearly that's why Greer uses him. But all these UFO people, there's some great stuff out there. Cousins just dropped a new one. Did you see that?
No.
Let me pull that up here. I put it in here. My point is, my rant is that there's people with little chunks here and there that are highly compelling. Okay. But there's no database like what Greer's put together. He's naming everything. People, places, programs. And it's in that database. Oh. Hold on a second here. Pull up Brent. The brothers just dropped a new jellyfish. You know, the one that Elizondo and all those guys are going on about?
Right. I've seen a lot of jellyfish UFO videos.
So apparently they're saying it's the clearest one yet.
Alone. Look how this odd anomaly, the refraction of light kicking off of it from the sun. This is nothing I've ever seen. It doesn't look. Can you give me a reason how this could fly? I see no wings. I see no any engine aftermath from it. No contrail. This thing's just moving along steady. Great footage. Absolutely, Brent. And we're looking at this, and I'm getting a close-up. I'm trying to make out any kind of structure, if there is indeed any, and I'm not seeing it. I'm looking at something that just seems to be illuminated, some kind of energy, pure energy, in my opinion. Maybe something that is with regards to natural phenomenon, weather phenomenon. I don't think so. I think we're looking at something that is not of this world. That's why we're here at Third Phase Moon, trying to get the answers for you to know that we're not alone in the universe. Apparently, NASA is going to come up with something in a couple weeks stating that they found it. We'll see about that. I'm sure it's going to be a bunch of hype, but they're not going to give us the answers we deserve. And in tonight's episode, we're going to be sharing with you incredible footage from NASA themselves, pretty much mind-blowing, smoking gun, that proof that we're not alone in this universe. But right now, if you were aboard a commercial airliner at 30,000 feet and you're looking out your window, looking down, and you see something like this, pull out your camera. I'm just wondering what the passenger thought while they filmed this, or even the pilots. We've had a lot of FAA pilots come forward to Third Phase Moon to share their footage. So if you are a pilot out there, don't hesitate. Share it to third phase of the moon, we'll share it to the world. Now, again, I want to get your thoughts with regards to this sighting. It's quite incredible. We've got weather phenomenon right now. Take a look at this. So I like it when people are keeping their eyes on the weather around us. And let me tell you, it gets a very, very strange. And we're seeing some kind of shadow coming off what looks to me maybe some kind of rocket launch. And what's interesting to me, I'm not seeing any rocket, but this shadow that stands out seems to go high in the atmosphere, maybe up to the memosphere, maybe about 90 miles plus. It's just interesting. The shadow being probably natural phenomenon. The weather definitely gets weird, but we sure like to share this stuff at Third Phase Moon. Look at that, how it just wraps across the sky there, this dark shadow. Brent, what do you make of this?
Yeah, pretty amazing weather phenomenon, especially the casting of the shadow right there. Again, look at how this point of action is directly at the center of the sun, right there below there. That's what I find very impressive. The chances of getting a shot like this is almost like 1 in a million. This person that got this was in the perfect spot to capture this phenomenon in action. Blake made a good point. Like, could this be maybe a tell the propulsion of a rocket and its aftermath being left in the sky, and then this is what's left? Or maybe even a chemtrail of a plane going over the horizon there. Again, these are the questions we're all asking right now, but the way it produces this, again, casting of a shadow along the sky, all just from, it's a 360 point of view. This is amazing.
It's interesting looking at this once again. It's just in the angle that makes this perfect to have the shadow. You have the sun setting. You have what seems to be, again, propulsion left over from a rocket launch, or maybe something else. I'm not exactly sure. But then again, you're seeing this shadow that casts across the sky. And it's interesting to see the phenomenon as it comes in from people like you from around the world that is capturing this and sharing it to everybody. That's what it's all about. It's quite exciting. And let me tell you, there's some new footage that has just been coming out, right, Brent? This leaked. There's 2 leaked photos of the jellyfish once again making a comeback. I'm not exactly sure. All I know is that we've been sharing with you the jellyfish. Is it the Jetpack Man? Is it something biological? I'm not exactly sure, but right now we're going to share with you these photos that have just leaked. They've kind of breaking the internet right now. And again, I want to get your thoughts. Here's the first photo coming in of something that looks biological, if you ask me. Look at these tentacles here.
Yeah, this just came in. It broke yesterday. Chaos Moogle was the one that received these photos, and apparently there's a 5-second clip of this actually in motion, and we haven't received it. I don't know if Chaos has yet, but we're hoping for that. Again, this is apparently captured over Afghanistan, and we've seen the jellyfish in war regions and a video. Now, if we see video of this is going to blow everybody away. But right now, I'm a little on the fence. But again, look at what we're looking at. The quality's clear. It's basically as clear as day. We see all sorts of detail and these tentacles that are just protruding out of this silver ball. Is it actually reflecting the atmosphere and the surrounding area itself, or could these maybe just be AI generated images to fool the masses? It's getting pretty rampant out there, and people are going to have to keep a really keen eye to disseminate AI from actual real video and photo evidence. But here's the next photo of the same object apparently, and you see at the bottom that it has that 0.5 seconds if you press play, and apparently this is in motion again over Afghanistan. Again, we need to see the video.
Absolutely. It's interesting as we're going to get a closer look. It seems possibly the same video, a matter of moments, and then we're getting this imagery, still frames from a 5-second video. I'm wondering why is it just 5 seconds? Is interesting to me. But once again, we're looking at this, and I think this is pretty much the clearest we've seen the jellyfish, the UFO. Like it's in your face, and people are worried about, once again, manipulated AI or CGI videos. I got a feeling this video is going to drop here pretty soon, and I'm leaning towards authentic. But once again, we want to get your opinions. Again, we're looking at the first video. Is this maybe some amped up weather balloon? That's a big question, and it doesn't look like one I've ever seen before, obviously.
Yeah, when people say it's not one of ours, this is kind of the perfect example of these drone machines that doesn't look like it's in our assets. These things look otherworldly, just the way it's built, and the strangeness about it just fascinates me and everybody else that I think is watching this right now.
It looks a little mechanical to me.
Now, more videos coming into third phase of moon, and this one is an interesting one, captured by an amateur astronomer lucky enough to see and film the phenomenon. It really doesn't get much better than this. And look at the scope of this craft and the moon itself. It's high up there. It's incredible.
It's been wrapping up here right at third phase, and people are going to say, could this be the new Space Force revealing itself in front of the moon, highlighted by the white full moon that we're seeing right here? Whatever this object is, it's huge, and it's able to be picked up by his incredible camera that he's capturing this amazing UFO phenomenon. Could this be, some people might say, an airplane way up there, high up, 34,000 feet, leaving a contrail? I don't think so. This looks more like you can see it's holding its position. There's no dissipation of this chemtrail. If that's what it is, it seems like one solid object, and it looks like a sword.
Yet some people are speculating right now that this could be a kite. I would have to highly disagree with them on this. We've seen a lot of videos in regards to people shooting the moon, but we haven't seen this phenomenon before. If this is indeed a jet airliner leaving a trail behind it, some kind of contrail, it stays very stable in its trail. It's not dissipating whatsoever. It seems that whatever it is a solid tail behind it. Again, maybe it's some kind of secret Space Force experiment going on in outer space.
Some people may speculate that this could be a huge space station closer to the moon than we actually expect. If this is in outer space, this thing would be miles long. Some people might speculate that the Space Force is being engineered through alien technology, and this is what we're seeing right here.
It's interesting to note that if this were close to the surface of the moon, would it even be able to be picked up by amateur astronomers with their lenses? We're not seeing any shadow dispersed on the surface of the moon, so it's hard to tell exactly what this is. Is this next to the ISS? Is this maybe the ISS? Not exactly sure, but again, it's very bizarre. I'm thinking that it is within our atmosphere, but how high is the altitude? How large is this craft, and what is it pulling behind it? I'm not exactly sure, but incredible footage coming in. And I want to thank people that are submitting their footage to us as we ask them. And wow, Brian Burke captured something incredible. We want to find out what it is, but again, the UFO videos keep coming in. We've got another one for you. Let's just roll it. Is there weather manipulation going on? NASA seems to have captured it in broad daylight via a 160 millimeter lens. Something was captured that seems to have ripped the sky in shreds. What is going on here? We're going to be supplying the original links below, so you can take a look for yourself exactly what NASA captured from the ISS, the International Space Station, approximately about 226 nautical miles up in space. And they captured this in the Atlantic. And we have these multiple photographs that we're going over right now. And is this some kind of a secret sonic weapon that we're not aware of? We want to get your comments below, and let's just take a look at these pictures for a little bit. Brett, I want to get your thoughts here.
Yeah, these are some of the best images I've seen of NASA this past couple months.
We're looking at an incredible video captured from the ISS, and Mary Hall has her eye on the sky, and she was watching the ISS as this was going live, and she noticed something out of this world, and we're pointing it out to you in clarity. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, guys? This is amazing stuff. Look at this. A formation of orbs cutting through the clouds and leaving a wake. What the heck is going on here? Let me tell you, this is a very bizarre. This was just captured a few days ago. And let me tell you, I think it's something in regards to the unknown. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. But what is being captured here from the ISS is very bizarre, and it defies any explanation that we know of right now. And I want to get your thoughts of what is going on, because after we look at some of the evidence that we're going to be going over tonight, it's going to leave you pretty much
Well, they certainly packed a lot into that one. And we have our resident ancient alien, Mr. Goodall, joining us. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna load in about 45 minutes ago, actually longer than that, and Google came up and said, "Well, your Google Chrome needs to be updated." Okay. And I went through all sorts of hoops and shit like that, and finally, I get on. I mean, I can actually load up Google, or Chrome, I should say, and that's when I text you, because I have a link directly to Riverside, and that's what I use to get on. But
I'm always shocked that Riverside link has been working for months, and all you do is click on that same one, and all of a sudden I can be sitting there just doing something, and you'll click on it and start showing up in my studio. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, what the fuck's going on here? Where'd you get that link, Goodall? What the fuck? You keeping an eye on me or what?
No, you sent it to me a long time when you first.
I know.
And I never erased it.
Well, we jumped on Rumble tonight. We've been talking about tech and all kinds of changes. So before we bring your wit and wisdom in on some of the shit that we were talking about earlier, what do you guys think of what the Cousin Brothers just dropped there?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a lot of stuff.
They get some good stuff.
That first part of that video where it looked like it was almost like a cylinder kind of shape that was just
shiny
floating there
thing
going along. I saw one similar to that. I don't know if it's the same one or a different video. It was filmed off of a plane also, but that same shape started changing as the longer the video went. And it almost went into almost like an angel looking thing. Then by the time the video was done, it had the tentacles coming down, all the same color. It wasn't black tentacles like the other one. The other one did look mechanical, like you said. It looked like they were attached to that sphere instead of coming out of it.
Yeah, it looked like a sloppy plumbing job.
Yeah, I
It
don't
looked like
know.
landing gear on the second view of it that they showed. It looked
Yeah.
like it was coming out, and then it looked like it was mechanical where it could come down.
Yeah. What did you think about the jellyfish, Clay?
Well, there's the two separate images, right? Right. One seemed mechanical. The other one seemed more organic. And I can see where he was talking about it's getting hard to tell between what's AI and what's real. You really have to look into it. I don't know. After anything's possible, I guess. I mean, if you've ever watched one of Garrow's high-speed overnight sky shots and you just see all this stuff moving up there, like what is all of that stuff? I mean, satellites, space junk, like comets, rockets, who knows? It's pretty intense, for sure.
Most of that I've tried looking up, on the satellite apps and all that stuff. It's like, all right, there might be one or two that show up at that time, but the other ones, it's like, it's not on there. It's like, what the heck is that stuff? And it's weird how they come in just like out of nowhere and they disappear into nowhere right there at the Big Dipper.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know. That first one did that first picture though did seem organic. The second one seemed mechanical.
So
Seemed
one
like
of the
a little
questions,
steampunkish kind of.
one of the questions I have is how did they take those shots? Because the one that looked organic was kind of down and kind of looking up. The one that looked mechanical was from the top looking down.
Mm-hmm.
So was that some drone images that they used to get that, or how did? I'd like to know the origin of the shot, how they were taken. But I think that's probably kind of a psyop thing. I don't think it's organic or mechanical. I don't know. It just doesn't. It seems like it's manufactured to do that.
Well, the first part of the video where, like I said, they showed the cylinder, kind of a real light object. That one I tend to believe more than the second one. That was just a silver sphere with the black arms or tentacles hanging off of it. Not that it doesn't exist. I mean, it could be a government thing or somebody's craft. But the first one, I really think that is more believable as far as maybe something paranormal or something we can't explain. As far as like a mechanical object, it kind of had that look to it, the way it was floating around and no propulsion, no nothing.
Jim, did you see that part? I think you came in after that.
No, the orb with the things,
Tentacles?
tentacles coming down. I wonder if that is an orb, but when they're ready to do something, those things come out of the orb. Because everybody says, a lot of people are seeing orbs, and they're just moving. They're fast movers, or they're bouncing all over the sky or whatever. But I wonder if the orb is going to pick up something or transmitting something or whatever, then it opens up and the tentacles come out.
Maybe
that's kind of scary.
No shit, Sherlock. Yeah.
One of the things that I was thinking about was if whatever they are, they don't look like they're designed well. It looks kind of sloppy. I mean, sloppy in the sense that that we've seen that in organic life here on Earth with different particularly sea creatures that have odd tentacles and so forth. But it looked like whatever you designed it for, you probably didn't do as good a job as you could have. And it doesn't look like whatever it's supposed to do. It could be very efficient because it looks sloppy. That's just my opinion.
My first thought when I saw the second part of the video at the Silver Sphere, it looked like black eye robots hanging off the bottom, like they were going to drop drones down somewhere. And one of them actually looks like it was separated down a little bit lower than the rest of them in the one video footage.
It did, and that, like the organic looking one, it did kind of look like, I mean, if you look at it, it did kind of seem like it was dropping stuff out of it. Interesting.
Well, I've just lost my Bluetooth. Hold on. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you still.
You can hear me. I need to switch up so I can hear y'all.
So we call him an asshole now and you won't hear it.
I'm recording. I'm recording. So, all right. That's a very interesting one. And so let's move on to the other one they had in there. The rod looking thing in front of the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like it had an airplane attached to the very front of it, or at least a spearhead, and it was moving. But if it was a contrail, it would trail off. You know, it would. When we first saw it, that would be the point of origin, and as it moves down, there should be a trail there of. If it was a contrail, there should be some evidence that it flew through there.
I don't think that was anything like a contrail. I think that was
that's an object.
That was a solid one-piece structure.
Yeah.
That had some kind of something at the bottom of it.
Or the top. Maybe that's the it was heading down towards the pointed end. So that's probably the front of whatever it is.
Yeah.
It looked almost what I would imagine like a galactic cargo ship to look like.
or Elon Musk super heavy with 3 stages on it.
Well, the one thing I first thought was, as you could see that it was starting to shift down away from being in front of the moon. And I looked at it and I said, "Is that like a space elevator?"
Oh.
I mean, is that like the tower, the top of the space elevator, or, which to me is just like, I can't believe anybody would even think that would make any sense and be smart to do, let alone.
Well, they talked about it.
Huh?
They've talked about putting an elevator to the moon.
Talked about it. They got fucking designs and budgets and shit. They have gone whole hog into going down that path. I'm looking at it going.
I mean, can you imagine the Earth is rotating at 1,100 miles an hour? If it's going out there, it's going to start taking out satellites, airplanes.
We're going to start off with the rope ladder, where you can just have a little sway to it, so you can test it out first.
Well, you know what the one in front of the moon reminded me of? Like them planes that carry behind the big signs.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like it was way, way up there.
But that's usually a biplane or a straight-winged aircraft that's pulling them. This thing had a pointy nose and swept back, like it could have been F-117. Nose on it, but.
Yeah, it very well could have had a ship in front of it of some type and then pulling some kind of cargo or something behind it. Maybe it had a tractor beam. Maybe that's why you saw that little bit of light in between the front and the back.
So I just really quick jumped on Ideogram and I made this right here. Can't quite see it all the way, but somewhat similar.
Oh, very similar
to what I was seeing, but without a background back there, of course.
But the tentacles, the drops that are coming down are, they're symmetrical, and they're falling. as where the ones on the other orbs were going everywhere but straight down. I mean, there may have been one or two going straight down, but they were also going out.
Just a quick test there to see how quickly I could get one, to see how close I could come to that. No, it actually got closer than what I thought it would.
Yeah.
Well, the silver ball with the tentacles or arms or whatever coming out of it, the silver ball part looks like similar videos we've seen where it's just going through with nothing below it. It's just a silver ball. We've seen those before where they say it's either a spacecraft or something. And what?
Well, that was the one that wasn't that like about 6 months ago, and Elizondo got on it, and everybody. It was the one over. It looked like it went through some kind of military facility out in the desert somewhere.
Right.
So, well,
but it didn't have anything coming out of the bottom of it that I remember.
Well, but it had some kind of dangling something. There was some like a couple of arm kind of things, and you know, I don't know, maybe the guy was just going commando and as he was flying across.
Got a hippie
commando aliens.
I did have a conversation with an unknown, and he said 99% of what you're seeing we built.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that 1% or that 5% that you can't hang your hat on. If that came from another place in time, or another universe, or another massive solar system. And we've only been flying for 120 years. Yeah, right.
Well, that depends on your definition of flying.
Manned, powered device that flies with a man in it.
Well, I don't know. You know about the Sonaro. You know about the Sonaro Aero Club, and all of the stuff that was going down in the 1800s. Airships all over the place, reported all over the place. And if you want to do a real good deep dive on that, just look up Walter Bosley, Bosley, and he's got books, videos. He's just detailed the shit out of this, and it's fascinating. And then, if that's not good enough for you, what about all those Vimanas in the Mahabharata and the Ramayana? I mean, we've been flying because the people that had put their fingers in our cavities and created us were flying, and that's how they got here to probe us. Oh, and speaking of probes, just on a side note,
have you been abducted lately? What are you going to bring up?
That's where he hasn't been for the last 4 weeks.
I've been on a probe sojourn. So going back to Optimus
Prime,
and the fact that basically, Elon's saying that this is V1, but wait till you see V9 and V10. This is going to be off the charts.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, this is like the base model.
Yeah. So, because it's just like the AI stuff, which is nothing more than digital expert systems. That's what they are. Period. Silica, non-organic. You cannot put anything that makes us human in the form of genes or consciousness into silica and other metamaterials that you make, because they are inorganic. So one of the challenges with the robots has been the articulation of the fingers, the hand, because the hand is where the magic is in what we humans do. Everything else is important too, but we don't do shit without having hands.
Right.
Right.
Especially a thumb.
Right. So the whole development of the ability, they call them, I think they're trigger points, is I think if I got it right. For a long time, they were stuck at like 40 or 50 trigger points. And that was what made all of the real robotic motion happen. Well, they made a huge leap, and it's like up to like almost 200. And that's given the articulation that really comes close to mimicking how our own digits and hands work, right?
With a sense of touch.
Well, and that's where I'm going with this. Part of the, by the way, I dug the whole vibe that Optimus was wearing there. I mean, the whole blackface thing, the black and the white thing, very tastefully done. I would be fine with that around the house, with that look. But the hands and the articulation, they've made major leaps, which is why they they were able to do what they did. There was probably some remote control of some of those Optimuses around there. The bartender did have a human assist that was, doing the drinks. But one of the breakthroughs was the texture of the hand, because they were limited in the metamaterials to create something like a skin that would have the sensitivity to be able to even enhance the articulation. Well, they've made a breakthrough that now they've got a material that feels so much like human skin that it's almost imperceptible.
Wow.
We're just waiting for Terminator to arrive.
Well, I was going to say insert your own joke here, but I tell you what, if I had a robot with hands that felt like skin, I might get arrested.
Well, I mean, honestly, think of the possibilities you could have with a personal robot, not just around the house. I mean, what about stuff like personal safety, security for your family? I mean, it could go far beyond just, remedial tasks around the house. You could actually use them to go work for you and earn a paycheck.
And
well, I was trying to tie it back to the whole probing thing, because the aliens are going to take over with the robots and AI, and they're going to use robots to do the probing. At least we can feel good knowing that it's not going to feel as bad as it would if it was cold steel.
It's not going to be cold and steel coldness.
Yeah, there you go.
Feel more human.
That's why you come here to.
Hey, Clay, are you in Des Moines, Iowa yet?
What's
we
that?
leave Monday morning.
Oh,
yeah.
So are you in the dungeon right now?
Yeah, we're in an empty apartment. Well, almost empty apartment. Tomorrow we'll do all the cleaning, and then Monday we hit the road.
So you need a robot.
If I had a robot, I wouldn't have needed all them people to come over today.
You're that filthy, huh?
Although like 5 or 6 people showed up, and seriously, we loaded it all in like 2 hours. It was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you missed his whole story about going to get the truck and the truck not being there and having to just all of a sudden. In fact, why don't you just recap that quickly? Have you got a short version?
Yeah, we went to pick up the truck from Budget Rent-A-Truck. They didn't have what they promised the night before. And this was an hour away from everybody being here to load the truck that we couldn't get. So we kind of freaked out for a minute, ran down to U-Haul, and U-Haul hooked us up right on the spot. They're like, yep, we got a truck for you. Can be ready in 15 minutes. We'll have a car hauler. You can come back tomorrow after your truck's loaded, pick it up. We'll load the car up for you and everything.
Wow.
So yeah, and we saved $500.
Wow.
I thought maybe you're going to tell me you hired a bunch of Venezuelan gang members to help you.
No, they're Haitian up there in Utah.
Oh, Haitian? They're Haitian there. They're not the Venezuelan.
Yeah. That's gonna be interesting when
we'll be there. We're staying at a hotel Tuesday night in Des Moines. And then we'll move into the new apartment Wednesday morning.
Oh.
I'm excited. We're both excited. We're even more excited now. Most of the work's done. It's just a little bit of cleaning up left to do. We're both ready just to get on the road.
But I tell you what, I'm not going to do it till next spring, and it all depends on my wife's doing. I go to Minnesota. I drive it twice a year, and I go right up I-35. Oh, and I go right through Des Moines, or go around it, I should say. And if I do it, I'll let you know ahead of time, and meet you for coffee or whatever. And
heck yeah,
it's always fun to see the person on the other end. What are they like in person? Because the vibe is totally different. You fucker up in the corner. I knew immediately when I saw him on Terry's program, and when you open the front door, that's what you see is what you got. So there
you go.
While I'm jabbering, Gerald, did you like my book?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I sent you a text, and I don't know if you saw it or not, but we received it, and it was great. And thank you for the kind words inside.
Well, my pleasure, and I thank you for doing. I mean, even though Jared is an asshole and doesn't deserve the consideration, you did it because I asked you to, and I really appreciate that. And I wanted to show you my appreciation by sending you the book.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah. I would have done it for you no matter what.
No, I know that, but I just wanted.
Just so you know, I was gifted one as well because I had to put up with him staying overnight here on his way gallivanting around the country. And so I use mine on my, I'll have a bowl, some really fine bud, and I'll put on some atmosphere kind of music, some background soundtrack, and I'll just sit there and smoke the bowl and flip through that thing and just go, holy fucking shit. It's like each one is like there's stories within the chapters. It's awesome. It's typical Goodall.
I'm getting ready to finish my Ohio class boat book, and when I was up in Seattle, I drove my wife to Seattle. We saw friends on the way, and I actually visited my brother for the first time face to face. Well, actually, the first time we actually had a conversation in 25 years. And Rosemary said, "We don't have to do this again, do we?" Because, but that's another story. When I was up there, I went up there primarily. I dropped Rosemary off with her car, and I borrowed my buddy's pickup. She's down south of downtown Seattle. All my friends are north of downtown. So I was staying at my buddy Rick's, and I decided to go over to the sub base at Bangor. And I said, it's always nice, and it's always fun when you've been talking to someone on the phone, or you've been doing, shooting emails or texts back and forth, to have that person actually come in and meet face to face. And they were just really, pleased that I did. And he said, oh, by the way, he said, there will be a lieutenant commander. This guy's a lieutenant. Lieutenant commander who will be, he's been assigned by the 3-star to make sure that my photo requests and opportunities are fulfilled. So they like my books. The Navy loves my books. And they're sitting right there in the waiting area for the commander of Pacific Subforces. So
So when is this new one coming out?
I will finish it probably by the end of January, because I won't be able to do a shoot until probably the first week of January. And then it'll probably take a year before it comes out from my publisher. So, but it will be volume 3 of my 3-volume set of the United States Navy's nuclear submarine force. So it's just fun. It keeps my brain working. It's like all this, all the shit you do, Robert. I mean, you really dive into stuff really deep, and I appreciate that, because you have a passion about over certain things, and we all do. And that's just one of my passions. I love history, but I'm also a very visual person. And when I was doing other books, I'd be a lot of text and some really cool photos, and then a lot of text and some really cool photos. If the book about whatever it is, let's say the Blackbird, if you're already intimately familiar with it, and you get another Blackbird book, you're not looking at the text. You know what's in there. You want to see did he have any new photos, or you get it, and I realized that I could get a squadron book or whatever, and I would look at every single photo and then read every single photo caption, but I wouldn't read any of the text. So that's when I decided, when I did my very first, it was on the B-2. I decided this was going to be a 160-page color, chronological history in pictures of the development of the Northrop Flying Wings. And it was fun. And I realized they had such a good response. And that's when I decided all mine were to be based on that template. And I think it's been successful.
Well, I am working on my first book, and I've actually got a series of them outlined that I'm working on. And every time I like to sit in my living room, the same place where I have your book on my table, and I'll sit there and
I'm honored, by the way.
I'll sit there and spark up the bowl, and I like writing. I like having paper and a pencil and a pen, and so I'll sit there and I'll start I've been laying out my ideas and how I want to approach it and all that. And I look up and I see your book and I go, no, Bauer, you don't need to do a fucking coffee table book. You need to do something that can be, consumed in a short.
I think the total number of books sold of my 75 years of Lockheed Skunk Works, that's in the neighborhood of about 5,000 books. That's a $70 book retail. If you're up in Canada, it's $90 Canadian, but it's only $50 in the UK. So,
I mean, I did not expect that book to be so extensive and heavy and well done as it was. I mean, it even the outside cover and the material it was made of was just fantastic.
Yeah.
It's top quality shit. That's why I said it's like a coffee table book that you could just sit there and you can have friends over and say, hey, let's flip through this book. And what the hell is that? That's that Goodall dude. He's a friend of mine. I know that guy.
But the thing about it, I cover 43 programs, but there's 43 programs I probably know absolutely nothing about. But I did ask the Vice President General Manager, Jeff Bavion, I did ask him to his face, we're going over to the U-2 operation there at Palmdale. I did a book signing in June of 21 at the Skunk Works. And I looked him straight in the eye and he said, how much alien technology, like from UFOs, is being utilized in Skunk Works programs? I mean, without batting an eye, he said, none that I'm aware of. He said, and then He said, but there may have been things that were developed before I got here that it's above my pay grade. My job is to look to the future. If I want to look into the past, I'll use your books. I have 2 books in my man cave no one can touch. Your Blackbird book and my 75 Years of the Skunk Works book. And I got that from Sherman Mullen. I got that from Jack Gordon. I got that from Robert Weiss. So of the starting with Kelly Johnson, there's been 11 heads of the Lockheed Skunk Works. I have talked to or they've seen my work, or I've given them my work, 6 of those 11. So I feel honored. Plus I had the number 2 guy, Ben Rich was on my side for 2 decades. So I really enjoy what I do, and the fact that a 3-star admiral, vice admiral, has assigned a lieutenant commander to make sure that my photo request is successful. So, and it looks like it turns out the SSGNs, those are the arsenal boats. They can carry SEAL teams and up to 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles. Wow. And there's no difference in external configuration between the conventional and the nuke version. And that part's not in salt. So it doesn't, they don't berth at the Delta Pier at Bangor. They're actually assigned to Bremerton. And they go to they're on what they call the Delta Pier. That's where I photographed the Connecticut, because it's assigned to Bremerton. That and the Seawolf.
So wait a minute. There's a Bangor in the berth. What did you say?
The berthing, the pier side area where they're going to bring in the submarines.
There's a berthing in Bangor.
Yeah, they don't have a berthing in Bangor. They actually do it at Bremerton. That's all right.
That one got tangled up in there somewhere.
Yeah, we're probably out of here too. So, but I told him, I said, I want to be able to photograph absolutely every physical change in the exterior of the hull, which is primarily the four missile bays. Those are now dedicated to the sealed, the dry deck shelters. And then everything internally. I know that the launch control panel is going to be different from a C4 boat, which I've already photographed, and a D5 boat, which I've already photographed. And those are the nuke ones. Those are the ones that carry the up to 100 hydrogen bombs each time they go out and patrol. So I want to all the differences, then difference up in the con, the control room, where everything is done. So I want to be able to photograph it. Everything gets different, and they're going to oblige me of it, I hope.
Wow.
So you're going to go in there with your camera and you're going to take pictures of shit that they let you take pictures of.
I'll take pictures of everything forward of the reactor room bulkhead.
Yeah.
Which I can't go into. I mean, I can't get back there. And I can't get on the Ohio boats, the SSBNs, the ones that have nukes in them. I wasn't allowed in the upper deck of Sherwood Forest, and that's where the.
Well, Jim, we all know that's just because your reputation preceded you,
right?
And they said, "Oh, there's no Goodall. No, there's no way."
I mean, I've told this story before, but when John Lear and I were being harassed at the fence line at Tonopah Test Range in the middle of the night, we had little red dots on us, our chests, and floodlights. And when they finally got our IDs, the shift commander or the supervisor, whatever it was, when he turned his interior light on, I heard, "Oh shit, it's Goodall and Lear." The lights went off, the red dots went away, and they dispersed. They knew I mean, and this is 5-6 years after, actually almost more than that, that I really, my involvement out there, I guess maybe about 5 years difference. Because I was out there in the late 80s, early 90s, every 6 weeks I was out there. So, but it's what I do, and it's fun.
Well, speaking of oh shit, a few folks have joined us that we need to get a shout out to. Vivified Universe is Vivian, and I've known her for 50 years, I think, something like that, Viv. Let's see, Kira's in, and Mackenzie's in. Welcome. I think Karen's probably still in. She's been quite busy dropping a bunch of nuggets in the chat. Polly is. Hey, Polly, if you're still here, welcome.
Handful of people were watching on Rumble too, so hi to you guys.
Oh, that's right. We got Rumble. Kind of keep forgetting. You know, it's you stop doing it for a few weeks, and you kind of, you know, you're like, don't forget to turn that on and watch that. And like, oh shit, that's right. But anyway, thanks everybody for coming in and enjoying our geezer, the gandering geezers, and gazing on the whatever the fuck it is going out there. And I got a couple of things I want to throw on the table here. First of all, Clay, you're traveling this week, right? What day are you planning on arriving?
We'll be in Iowa Tuesday night, so we'll be in the apartment Wednesday sometime.
Okay.
Party's Wednesday night, right?
Well, no, Tuesday night at the hotel. We don't want to party in the new apartment and get in trouble on our first night.
You'll have to have pizza delivered or something.
We can get kicked out of the hotel. We don't want to get kicked out of the apartment.
That's a smart move. Yeah, especially when you got all your shit in the truck with you.
Yeah.
You know. So the reason I ask is there is of all of the shit that is afoot, in particular what we're seeing in this in the political theater and the movie playing in that chain, the set of cinemas across the country, there has been an extremely profound. Remember, we did a show back in July when they made the first public attempt on Trump, right? And we were on that night,
right?
And we said, you know, there's a perceptible change in energy. There's something weird, and then as the next few weeks unfolded, it was like there's clear that there's been a directional change of the energy going that direction, and it's palpable. You can not only feel it, you can see it. So we started to see more and more of that, and it has been, to me, I've seen no deviation from the direction, and I've only seen an increase in the energy flow. So there's a lot more energy. There's a lot more. The attraction factor, the magnetic component of attraction that energy field is currently generating is pretty profound. I can't think of anything I've seen where there's been that much of call it an energy monster. It's just, it's bringing on all the energy in. And it's quite fascinating from my perspective, because like I said, I've never seen anything with this much volume, velocity, and intensity, and profundity in the meaning of it. You know, what the symbology of politics and authority and governance and all this shit. I mean, if all of the systems, and we've yammered about, I'll take responsibility. I've yammered on about this ad nauseum in our other shows, but everything is so fucking broke and it's so fucking obvious that you have to be a fucking idiot to not see the totality of the transformative disruption, of the destruction of the shit that we've been under for millennia, in particularly the last couple of 100 years, where it's become very acute. Going back to the point I was making earlier about the Age of Enlightenment and that energy cycle. It's about a 400-year cycle. We're at the end of that. Some people call it, that's when the Kali Yuga ended, and we are actually on the ascension into the Bronze Age of that cycle. So you look, there's all kinds of different ways that the telemetry, the energy, the aspects, the perspectives, the theologies, philosophies, and sciences have delineated all these different things that we observe, but we see that they all have different types of ways in which they are directionally seem to be going and working. There seems to be more harmony in the discontinuity of shit that's going on. And it's a weird state, because it seems to me that the stuff that's going on has had to go on in order to get to where we are, to get to where we're going. As the infinitely wise philosopher Pooh said, I get to where I'm going by leaving where I was.
He ain't lying.
And I think that that's what we are actually seeing manifest around us. There's the energies and the flows of the cycles of energies, from the micro to the macro, to the cosmic, to the celestial, and then to the finite within ourselves. We are just waves. Everything is waves. There are no billiard balls. There are no atoms smashing into each other and orbiting one another. They are snapshots of waves of frequencies of energy. That's what it is. It's all based on frequencies and vibration. So, different subject. I don't want to squirrel there, because you guys know I can go on till everybody goes to bed about that one. My point is that what we're seeing, I think, right now is a convoluted manifestation of the oh shit factor. There is a those that have been riding the wave of the cycle over the last 400 years, they know that they can no longer ride that, because that wave is going away. The energy that they tuned into for that is naturally dissipating. It's not going to be there anymore. And it's actually being replaced by the new cycles of energies that are both celestial and terrestrial, that are afoot in a natural cycle and rhythm of the frequencies that are waves within the infinite fields of frequencies. So we're seeing that manifest, and we can sit back. You can actually pull back and kind of go, I can see that shit going on over there. That's got this kind of, people say you get a vibe. Yeah, it has a vibe. It has a vibration. It has a frequency that it manifests at. So we're seeing this shit unfold in a way that those that were riding the wave, that are now getting tossed off the train, and you can think of the frequencies transition as kind of like two streams crossing, right?
Right.
So you got one that's waning, and you got one that's climbing and that's waxing. So you're basically, the streams are crossing, and we're under the stream. And we all know what happens when you cross the stream, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be anywhere near the stream crossing, because that's not going to be good for you for a lot of reasons. But it's a necessary aspect of what we have to go through.
The only problem that most people aren't realizing, or don't want to realize, they might be trying to avoid it and duck their head in the sand, is the wave that you're talking about actually is a tsunami. I mean, you better either jump in the stream and go for the ride, or you better make sure you're in a bunker that's able to withstand the force.
Right. And
if the wave is big enough, it's going to cover that bunker that was it Billy Boy Gates has there in Kauai. It's gonna put 400 feet of coral on top of them.
Well, I think that all of these things are what we're seeing in the movie theater of the mind. Currently has multiple attractions playing playing at the same time, and it's like basically you can go to the counter and get your popcorn and goodies, and then you can just go from one theater to the next and just watch another movie. They're all playing at the same time. The one that has those have been the releases of the cinemas and the distribution by those who have been riding the wave has been putting out complete crap, and people aren't going there anymore. They're not going to the shows. They're not going to the cinemas. They're not buying popcorn because people aren't buying what's being sold and what's being shown. They're looking at it going, I don't know. I think you're kind of missing some shit in here, and all that anger and emotional stuff you bring every time you want me to come, it's a little much. You need to, if you got a good product, it'll sell itself. And if you got a shitty product, you can't shove it down people's throats because then it's not going to go work for you. So those are just a whole bunch of metaphors and analogies and otherwise around the point that to me, what we're going to see over the next couple of weeks in particular is going to be the result of the people that are currently making the decisions, all the really bad decisions and putting up the really terrible people to go doing their bidding. Okay. All of the people that were leading it originally have left. The people that were originally the cabal, the globalists, the elites, the powers that be and don't and want and weren't and aren't and whatever. Pick your people and place them. I think those folks figured out that this was not going to work and it was the end a long time ago, and I think they've already failed, the majority of them.
Right.
And that would result, if I'm anywhere near correct in this observation, which is purely my speculative opinion, then that would leave all of it's like the 3-tier thing that we've seen Israel execute in its persecution of its enemies. What have they done? Take out the top guy. Take out the second guy. Take out the third guy. Well, who's left?
No one wants the job.
Right? And there was a report that the guy, it was a Hezbollah or Hamas, I guess. Or did they took out one of them. All
Hezbollah,
of them.
I believe.
Hezbollah. And the one that remains, the guy that was offered the job is taken over, said, nah, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm not. Right? And this is not about the political or the morals or the ethics. It's just the actions that happen. I'm just talking about what's happened and using it as an analogy to what I think has happened in particular with our political circumstances. I think the dogs that were running are gone. They bolted. They might have left one rep or two around somewhere, but they've exited. They're like, we're not going to be tied to this as it collapses. So what you have is second, third tier folks who really don't have any leaders. They're really, they required the leaders. That's why they were second and third tier, and they really don't know what to do.
Right.
I think there is a significant amount of confusion and chaos trying to deal with the facts and the energy shifts, and that is manifesting in significant stumbling, bumbling, and crumbling all about on every level. I mean, if you watch either one of the people for the Dems, or supposed whatever that Dem thing is now. It's gotten so squishy, mushy, and fuzzy and very opaque. So what it is, and it, to me, is one of the reasons that it is actually, we're watching the complete collapse of an ideology, of a political system. And if you look at the representatives that they've dropped to run this group, to run this field, these two are just, oh my God. And it's not because of any political bias or anything. It's just, how good are you at being a leader? How good are you at being able to communicate and get people to buy into whatever the hell it is you're saying? How good are you? Are you good at that? Can you generate curiosity and interest and persuasion? How's your persuasion skills? These two are two of the worst I've seen in my, political experience on Earth here during this last 70 years. I'm looking at it going, Dukakis was kind of got choked around there. What was his name? Quayle got hammered pretty good.
Quayle, yeah.
But I think either one of those two would be way better than these two. I'm looking at it going, I can't believe that it's that obvious. What are your thoughts?
I mean, how do you mess up an earpiece that's telling you what to say, and you got to sit there on a live mic saying it's a live broadcast? It's like, you don't think they're going to hear that? It's like, come on now.
Well, and then she had the teleprompter on her town hall meeting.
And it froze.
They weren't supposed to show that part.
Yeah, showing all the answers to the questions she was being asked.
Yep.
Well, to me, those are symptomatic faux pas of the real problem. She can't have a conversation.
No.
The level of inauthenticity. She doesn't seem to be authentic at all. There's and the other guy, balls to the walls, whatever. He is just way over compensating for whatever the fuck it is going on in his noggin.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, it's just like, how can you be that? And then apparently the latest genius move is to say, yeah, okay, Bumble's come out and said, hey, black guys, you don't be misogynist.
Yeah,
and
jump on.
And then they say, well, we're gonna toss old Timmy out here on the trail on the masculinity tour or some shit. And they did a commercial for it. And if you haven't seen it, see it yourself. It's all over the place. And it looks like a gay guy did it. And I got nothing against gays. I'm not saying anything about that. If I wanted to do a commercial for the black community, I'd have black people in there. If I want to do one for any other ethnicity, I'd have that in there. If I wanted to do targeted women, I'd target women. But if I wanted to target gays, I would do this because it looks like it. And oddly enough, another example of what I'm talking about in the lack of cognitive clarity in the consciousness of all of these poor brain-stained people that have been this way for decades, that are now they're not, in a lot of cases, they're not getting offered the red pill. They're just getting an auto suppository, and they're choking on it because it's gone up too far. But anyway, my point is that the personality energy that these people admit is not well thought out. It's all over the map because it's so amenable to all the variables that one could think of and come up with, regardless if they have any connection to reality or common sense.
Right.
So I wouldn't
when
be.
you let them loose out there and they cannot think for themselves or think quickly on their feet. I mean, my gosh, how many times do we got to hear what's your plan and say, well, I was raised in the middle class environment, you know, it's like, but what's your plan? And she just starts saying the same stuff. And then Walls is like, he's just as bad saying, you know, that he befriended the school shooters. It's like, what? What did you just say?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I claim Minnesota as home, but I'm almost embarrassed to even say that right now because of Waltz. I mean, he's just, he's such a zero. I had something intelligent to say and it vaporized. I think I'll light up another one.
That was purely a hallucinatory experience, Jim. You did not have.
Oh,
There was not an intelligent thing that went through there.
I know that.
Kid yourself.
The thing that just cracks me up, the NBC news crew was in a bad part of New York City or bad part of Chicago, and they said, "What do you think of Trump?" And almost everybody on there, was about a dozen of them that they interviewed, and I guess it was universal throughout the community, was Trump. She said, you know, Harris is she ain't black. And that fool that, you know, they have, you know, that's running with her. I said, President Trump, when President Trump said, how about Obama? They don't like Obama. Said he was all talk, no action. I mean, the black community is all of a sudden they're waking up.
Right.
And I think it's really upsetting some people who just assumed that the black community would be voting Democrat for the next 200 years.
Well,
they've
focused on it for decades. It's been their core. It's been a default. And they, for a long time, were supportive simply because of the policies and the benefits of social programs. But those really didn't even materialize now that time has gone by and everybody's looking back, well, what happened? How is it we spent $3 trillion on education and we got the worst on the planet? What the fuck's going on there? And the whole narrative.
You can't count. What do you expect?
So I think what we're seeing is a transformative, transitional exchange of old to new. And the old,
it doesn't bode well for us.
Well, I mean old in the sense of systems.
Oh, okay.
Systems and thinking, and quite complementary to that is that I think the old us is going to be a significant part of this transformation, because unfortunately there's a couple of generations of carbon units out there that are fucking useless. And if not only are they useless, they will get in the way because they will be so useless. Now, that doesn't mean that I do think that there's a significant opportunity and probability that re-education, use the word used properly, of these people will make them useful participants. But it's still going to be up to the old geezers to make a point that in order to get through this transition, we're going to need that. There's a whole bunch of great new thinking and new technologies and all that stuff. But we're the only ones that have ever gone through a period where we had to build something from something that wasn't there. We're the only ones that know how to manufacture something. going back to the point I was making about Elon, when the people were giving him shit about the fucking Starlink thing for North Carolina. It's like, oh, it's just, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. Let's see. He's delivered life-saving technology that no one else can do, by the way. No one else could do this. And he's given it away. And oh, by the way, he rescued a couple of astronauts from space last week.
Yeah, because Bowen's fucked up.
So, so he's building electric cars and robots and Neuralink and boring. I mean, if there is anybody that has ever done more in the world of manufacturing, I don't know who it is. Because this guy's all over the map, and he has a propensity for building big shit that works.
And he's coming out with his new cell phone that will go work directly with Starlink. Ooh. So you would have five bars no matter where you were. Maybe in Antarctica or the North Pole, you may not have it just because of the location of the satellites. But
he's dropping thousands of satellites every month or two. He's covering fucking everything. I saw a blog, somebody was going on about the truth about getting Starlink in Zimbabwe. If you're in Zimbabwe, you can get a signal.
I mean, just like what we said before, Elon tried to get the FCC to fast track his cell phone technology into Starlink, and they wouldn't do it. They just kept blocking them. And then all of a sudden, because of the natural disaster, they just fast tracked it and say, okay, let's do it. So he's technically the first to hook up cell phones through satellite technology, I guess. And it's working fantastic.
Starlink has had a relationship with T-Mobile for the last year. I can get Starlink on my phone because I'm with T-Mobile. And now he's got, did you know that you can order Starlink on Amazon? And you can get the mobile version.
Yeah, the mini.
Yeah. Oh, Karen just dropped in here. China unveils world's first AI-powered hospital featuring 14 AI doctors and 4 virtual nurses. The hospital can treat up to 10,000 patients in days.
Wow.
Oh, just what I want, to have something that you don't hear the oh shit. You don't want to hear that when you're just local.
When you starve or kill a big percentage of your population, you got to make sure you have certain bases covered, and AI can do that, I guess.
Yeah, Karen says the Amazon Starlink apparently aren't working well. Well, I got to tell you, one of the things I said this when Musk finalized the Twitter purchase a couple of years ago now. I said, watch what's going to happen here. He's going to turn that into the global platform of commerce and the public square where everything, music, transactions, buying shit, Amazon level store stuff, it'll all be tokenized on the blockchain, and it will become the global digital platform. So he'll roll out money and crypto and all of that. So 2 years later, he's just about to do that. When he dropped Grok, if you haven't tried Grok as AI, highly recommend it. It's free. Be a member, but like we were talking about subscriptions earlier. But anyway, I think his real goal of Starlink was to make his own phone.
Right.
And be his own communication device on his own network. Done.
The only thing that would have been better for Elon, that would have been spectacular, is if he would have had flying Teslas come in and rescue people and take them out.
Yeah.
He's probably working on it.
Yeah, that coming to a disaster near you soon.
And you'd have his his iRobot come out and rescue people out of the flying ships.
Just drop Wii robots everywhere.
Building bridges, getting people out of hazardous places and rescuing them, and just taking over.
Hey, you want to go on a real cheap gold mine tour? I know there's one right outside of Denver.
Yeah.
1,000 feet down, and the elevator malfunctions. I don't know how they got 500. Got half the group out almost immediately.
The last I heard, there was 1 dead and 11 trapped or something. I don't know what happened.
The person that got killed was the tour guide.
That's not a good thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I would say not.
So you're down there. You don't know what resources they have down there. You're not going to go out. You're not going to go very far from the elevator. They did say there were chairs, and there's water. The air is okay. I guess they vent it, to circulate the air in and out. But it's and apparently they have to inspect all the pulleys and cables multiple times a day, or so many trips up and down. I mean, we're going down 1,000 feet. I mean, if all of a sudden at 100 feet the cable goes, shit, I'm tired. I'm gonna go for a break. There's not gonna be much left of the bottom of that at the bottom of that elevator shaft.
Right. I mean, having your tour guide die, that's right up there with taking a trek through the Amazon, and your guy that's getting you through the Amazon dies, and you're out there in the middle of nowhere. It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a young girl. She got blown out of an airplane that had a mid-air collision or crashed, and she survived. She was still strapped to her seat.
Right.
And it took her 3.5 weeks to work her way out of the Amazon and to get to civilization. I mean, that girl must have kahunas, like this.
That was an amazing story.
Yeah.
Look at the guys that went down in the Andes, the Uruguayan soccer team. They were up there for 72 days.
Yeah, bon appetit.
Yeah,
alive.
That's. I don't recall. I didn't read the book, and I didn't see the movie. I was aware of what happened, but I don't know if they killed anybody. But those that died, they decided to use use as food.
Yeah, well, they never killed anybody. The people that didn't die on the first day or the couple of following days by the injuries from the first plane crash, the rest either died weeks later from an avalanche. Avalanche killed, I think, 17 people or 7 people, 8 people, something like that.
Yeah.
It's people that were already dead or what they started eating.
So and they didn't have to draw lots or straws.
I don't know if they did. Because I just did a documentary about that, and I don't know if they, how they would go about doing that. I do know the 2 guys that freed them walked 10 days before they were found. But little did they know, just 13 miles the opposite direction, they could have been saved. There was a resort 13 miles to the east that nobody knew about. Because they didn't know where they were at. They just had to guess where they were at. But yeah, pretty interesting. 45 people on board, 16 survived.
Well, usually none, so that's pretty good. Usually it's like throwing an egg against a wall. Even though an airplane may look solid, I've reskinned enough of airplanes and fabric covered ones as well.
To survive the air crash and then to survive the environment you're left in.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Well, I can imagine how these guys felt being in the Andes in the first place, thinking you're going to get rescued, and then you're listening to the radio 11 days later, and they're saying, "Oh, we're calling the search off." And you're looking around at it, 16 or 18 other people. Like,
hello.
But there's been plenty of that, even the pioneers, kind of the same thing happened to them when they got trapped.
Lewis and Clark?
No,
Donner's Pass. Donner's Pass is one of them.
Donner's Pass, yeah. Donner Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when they finally put Soylent Green on the shelves last year, that
they called it that too.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Look at
it's like, there's some predictive programming.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
But what if it was this psychology and the Soylent Green was the good stuff and everybody else flocks to the stuff that is the bad stuff?
That's just the kind of shit they'd pull.
Yeah,
right?
But as evil as our federal government is, the alphabets, starting with FEMA working its way down the toilet. Nothing would surprise me.
Well, I got to tell you,
to American citizens.
Going back to the point I was making earlier about everything's fucking broke. Okay, you can't fix it or repair it. You need to replace it.
You got to kill it. Hope it doesn't regenerate.
Yeah, you got to kill it off. So one of the things that I've observed that I could be me, I don't know. Tell me what you guys think, but going back to the point I was making about directional energy, the magnetic attraction that seems to be going in a certain direction. Well, when you see that happen, when that magnetism and attraction occurs, the polarities, essentially, then you look and see what gets caught up in that orbit, what gets attracted to it. And I got to tell you, the people that are gravitating in one direction are some of the most interesting and actually badass energy tubes that I've seen. You get people like Musk and, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Vivek, Vance, these guys, going back to the point we were criticizing about the flailing on the other side, these people project competency. Every one of them.
Yeah.
They're very competent, and that competence exudes credibility. And then you look at their track record and you go, well, they kind of lines up. The authenticity of the integrity that these people seem to have within their carbon-based meat suits, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Individually.
And
Collectively,
Tucker's in there too.
It's like you've got a pirate ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you saying, Jim?
Step away just for 1 second. I got to take a potty break.
Yeah.
I said, Tucker Carlson is
there's another one
in the mix as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, do you see that kind of? Do you see it that way? Am I just sitting here smelling my own flatulence?
Probably that too.
Oh, absolutely. This time around, he's surrounding himself with the right people in the right positions, and they have the credibility and the cojones to back it up. I mean, just look at what Elon's done. Look what Kennedy has done, and like you said, Tulsa. But I just enjoyed Tucker this last time going down there to the hurricane victims and going to the FEMA truck and like seeing how messed up it was. Like they weren't even where the people were to sign them up, and they're sitting there playing cards, acting like people should just automatically know where to go sign up. It's like, really? Maybe you should put yourself where the people are.
Yeah, I'm just trying to observe and kind of get a general sense of where the energy's going. Where's the flow?
Well, I'm pretty sure we're seeing the formation of the MAGA Avengers.
Well, I like
Justice League.
I like the pirate ship motif because it seems like an odd collection of people that wouldn't normally get together, and they're all individually very good at what they do. So the idea of that group collectively and individually going in and trying to clean out the crap that's in the system right now is kind of encouraging. I feel I'd like to see that. Even if it doesn't work, I'd just like to see him try.
Yeah, I hope the first thing that Elon does on once he's appointed, or once he takes on the job, he said he'll go into a department, say the Department of Agriculture. Everyone here is fired. If you want your job back, you have to submit your resume and what you've accomplished in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they would just they would just slither away, because most of them don't have. I mean, look at Kamala. When it's bad when she has to lie about working at McDonald's. I mean,
I was thinking today, I was like, well, who pads their resume with a McDonald's stint? Does anybody use McDonald's to fluff up their resume?
Well, that's all part of her plan, because she grew up in the middle class in the middle of the city, and she had to put something down that she did, and McDonald's fits the bill.
I don't know. I worked at McDonald's.
I did too.
And I will admit to stealing a Big Mac or two. Yes, sir, Bob. Back then they were like 25 cents or 50, I think. Big Mac was 50 cents.
We could pick anything off the menu for our lunch or our break times to eat, whether it was a gigantic basket of fries or a quarter pounder Big Mac, whatever you wanted, and a large drink.
Yeah.
Of course, that's when it was real food then. At least I think it was real food then. I know
it was a lot closer to it, I think.
Yeah, I was the only fast food place I ever worked in was the Western Drive-In on East Colfax. It was the 8400 block, East Colfax. And we had car hop service, and we made really good pizza. And I was their primary pizza maker. I was stationed there at Lowry Air Force Base, so I'd come there in the evenings, and I'd be there on weekends sometimes. And it was just, it was insane. It was fun, because you're dealing with, it was a different time. I mean, this is 1962. Oh, yeah. This is 1962 and 63. We lived that world. There's almost no traces of it left. It really does not exist. It exists because we were there and we remember it. But it doesn't exist anywhere here. You can put your hands on it or look at it today, and that's a shame. And hopefully we'll make a transition back over to that direction. Because right now there's an awful lot of evil that permeates the halls of Congress and all the different departments of this and that. And it's not in our best interest.
Well, that's the sad thing, that every generation, from our grandfathers to our fathers to us to our kids, the America that they grew up in is no longer here.
Yeah. And was it Ronald Reagan said? Ronald Reagan said, "Our freedom is only one generation from extinction."
Well, that's why I was saying earlier that, us old folks, yes, we are that.
Right? And I guess I qualify more than anybody else. So yeah.
That's right. You are the senior seasoned citizen.
Yeah.
But that's why we have to be here for this. Because we do remember.
Yes.
We did live it. We do know what worked when it was really awesome. And that, in order for that to come back, Jim, we've got to help it, because like I said, these last two G's behind us, whatever the fuck, I can't even, it's like the whole gay LGBTQ EREIO. I can't keep up with what the fuck everybody's calling themselves these days. I think we are still boomers, but I think they gave us a letter too, didn't they? Are we X, or what the fuck are we?
No, we're me personally, I was born in 63, so I'm at the tail end of the boomers, but then after that was Gen Z.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was born in 45.
Gen X. Yeah.
I was born in 45.
Gen X or Z?
Gen X.
Well, 45.
I'm the greatest generation.
You're, well, that's, yeah, you are actually.
Yeah.
But okay. So basically we're a bunch of boomers here. And if you remember wind wings and curb feelers.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
If you remember strap-on skates and slinky.
Yep.
And silly putty.
And silly putty. And you remember them because you use them.
And Tinker toys and erector sets.
And those goddamn jacks. Oh my God, the most painful toy ever made.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I just.
That was made by the satanic motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't usually get the round end to be where your foot hits in the first spot. No, it has to be the pointy.
Yeah. It's, oh God.
Yeah.
Some clackers, they smashed a finger or two.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the Wheelo? It was a wheel. It was like a round thing, and you just it'd go back and forth and around that thing.
Yeah. How many times have you had that fly off at your head doing it too hard?
Yeah. And the clackers. Remember the clackers?
I got a set up in my curio cabinet upstairs from one of my original ones. They're like the looking glass. They're the glass green ones. They got some cracks in them, but they never exploded all the way.
Well, there was nothing like a good old water wiggle. You guys remember the water wiggle?
Yeah.
And my favorite at family get-togethers was lawn darts.
Yeah,
I was going to say that. Yeah, that was population control back in the 70s. I mean, those are lethal. I mean, they dropped those from an airplane over a combat zone. Whoever they hit would be dead.
You know, it wasn't like horseshoes where you all stand away or whatever while the one guy throws yard darts. You're right there next to the freaking circle waiting for the dart to land.
Yeah.
And who hasn't thrown one up as high as they can to see where it's going to come down?
Mm-hmm.
It's like Dan Aykroyd on Saturday Night Live when he was the Painway Toy Company or whatever it was. And he had all those weird.
The bag of glass.
Yeah. We don't. I mean, I don't think today's generation has any idea what in the hell is happening in the world. There was an article I read yesterday, and I'm not sure where, but it was in a news report of some sort, saying that they were talking to some interviewees, and they had their first day at a job, and this Generation X or whatever it is, he's like 20, maybe as old as 22, but lower, young, very young 20s.
Probably millennials.
He was absolutely appalled that, my God, I had to be here for 8 hours. Duh. Well, that's the real world, sweet pea. And there's people, I know Robert's done it and I know I've done it, where, gee, I had put 120 hours in this week. And because it was my company, I had to pay my employees first and I didn't have enough to pay me. So, I've been down that road. I know how it feels. I know how it tastes. But these kids, they don't have any ambition. I mean, that's probably the saddest part.
Well, that's because their individuality, with a lot of fanfare, supporting identity of your individuality has been stripped from them.
Yeah,
it's like Heidi Pop and what she's doing with her education and Lawrence August. They're focusing on the things that have been taken from the normal development of the human condition, learning about self, about what it is that you resonate with, what do you have proclivities and peccadillos towards, what are your biases. And this whole thing about bias is complete bullshit. It's been hijacked and weaponized like all this other, as I say, language is the operating system of the mind. You take a word and you fuck with it, and then you shove it into their ear, every orifice they've got, and do it repeatedly. It will become what you want it to be, and it will cause all kinds of chaos because it will be antithetical to the heritage, to the tradition, to the use, the commonality of what it was before. So this has been a part of the failed little mafioso groups. The big dogs have left town. They've left the second, third, fourth in charge, and these guys don't know what the fuck to do. So they're running around banging into each other, causing all kinds of chaos, and they can't execute to save their fucking lives. And it's obvious. So to me, it's a self-imposed implosion. The ideology that has been these people have adopted and put all this energy into is crumbled under its own stupidity, its own weight. And the cold, hard realization of that is happening in front of everybody. We're all watching it. And it's the latest hot movie in all the cinemas because everybody's going, I've heard about that movie. I've heard about that theory. I've heard about that idea. I've heard about those things. I've heard about the stuff that you can't see, that you can't say. They seem to have a lot of it going over there. A perfect example, the Matt Walsh and his Am I Racist? Have you heard about that documentary?
Yeah, I heard about it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, the clips are fucking priceless. And he just nails the shit out of all these people. And he does it by letting them do it to themselves.
Yeah,
which is part of the brilliance of the movie. Because you give these people that are all brain stained with this bullshit, you ask them a couple of questions and they're real simple. And when they realize that if they answer the question truthfully, it's going to shoot their fucking story full of holes. And that's how simple the creeping logic and the common awareness of reality is manifesting. We're seeing all these people lose their shit. And I got to tell you, after this, I personally think we're going to see a separation in the official narrative and the reality when the election happens, in the biggest margin that we've ever seen. Could that translate into just an undeniable landslide? Yes. Will it be obvious by the end of next week? I think so. I think the probability by the third week of this month that it will be so painfully obvious that it's over, that the spin and the damage control will start to kick in. And there will be a bunch of finger pointing, a bunch of blaming and, reasons for this and all that. But it will be so profound that it will be it'll be too obvious to obfuscate.
I think the October surprise is that everybody already realized how stupid they are and how inept this other party is. I think the curtain's been drawn back and everybody's viewing it real time on social media and everywhere else. And I think that's what the October surprise is, that they finally realize that everybody can see through the veil.
No, I think the October surprise is going to be the one person that President Trump just despises is, I call him Skid Mark, but he goes officially by Barack Hussein Obama.
Skid Mark.
I honestly believe he and I think and Obama knows it. He's going to incinerate both Skid Mark and Big Mike because he wants to. If anybody needs to have his hand or fingers caught in the car door when it slams shut, it's Skid Mark and Big Mike. And I think it's going to happen, and I think they know it. They have
Do you think that that's something's going to come out of the Diddy files?
Oh.
He's
there's going to be a whole lot coming out of that.
Diddy's going to have a heart attack.
No wonder we'll see the list. I doubt it. Like, we're still waiting for the other list.
And you know what?
Really find out who and what was all there. I mean, people say names and names are floating around and people know who he associated with. But is there going to be a list? You know what I mean?
Well, there's 150 people who are part of a lawsuit saying that they were sexually abused and or raped or whatever, or even trafficked by, for, and through Combs.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I heard that there's going to be there's some video of camel toe McKnee pads.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit. That is their only qualification. I mean, like I said, when you're running for president and you can't give your accomplishments for the last 3.5 years because unless you say, oh yeah, my goal was to destroy this once beautiful country, and I don't think that would go over well with the voters, but I think most of the voters are aware of it now. But this woman is so absent of accomplishments. Now she's been given promotions probably for favors.
Well, wait a minute, Jim. In her defense, don't you have to have a personality in order to have accomplishments?
Well, yeah, she doesn't have that either. I mean, she is. I mean, what is it?
She's one of the most high-profile participation winners in history, and we all know what the participation was.
Yeah. As you get her done, that guy. I mean, he
get her done.
I mean, like he said, I guess Ron White said, you can if you have bad teeth, you can get them fixed, or you can have them capped, whatever. If you're having trouble seeing, and you get LASIK surgery. If you can't hear very well, you get hearing aids. If you're fat, you can go on a diet. It goes on and on. It says, but the one thing you can't fix, stupid. And that's what we have in I call her kumquat. We have to be the laughing stock of the world. It is this the deep state's answer to the world, to saving the world?
Well, I don't think saving is anywhere in the calculation or conversation going on with them. They're trying to control and maintain the control that they've had because they're about to lose it all.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of the extreme events and overflow of bullshit popping up here and there. I mean, you think about, what's going on in the Middle East right now. You look at that situation, and we mentioned it earlier about forget about the politics and the morals and the ethics, but execution wise, I'm telling you what, if you can target pagers, which is 30-year-old technology, and you can emasculate whoever's got one of them on, I mean, bravo fucking that is really good.
I mean,
And
cell
they did it more
phones
than
too.
once. I mean, they're taking out people. They know where they are. They've got their device targeted, and they've turned these devices into weapons. So it's like,
Carrier pigeon.
well, it's like what was that movie, Assassins? I mean, if you're going to go do assassinations, you want the elite groups, the ninjas, the guys that are just you don't know to see them coming and you don't see them going. This is that on a whole nother level. It's just like, I don't have to hire anybody. I just program the phone, hit a fucking button. I mean, come on. Is that not
the new standard in cell phone technology? Each one's going to be implanted with a little bit of plastic explosives in there, just in case.
I just have a little vial of salt water next to that lithium battery.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not for margaritas or martinis.
Technical support's online right now telling them, well, in order to reset your phone, you need to go into the ocean.
So, but the thing that's, I think, and for a number of years that I've been talking about this on shows, to me, I look at that whole thing and say, look, for millennia, for generations, these people have been fighting over sand and dirt. They didn't use any of the oil. They didn't even know it was fucking there for that. They call it bitumen. But they didn't know there was nothing that. And it's all tribal. And there's basically a lot of interbreeding going on among these tribes and these different groups of people that have camped out in the sand and the desert and defend it by going to war with their other groups of people who are doing exactly the same thing. Am I wrong? Is that not the circumstances?
Oh, I mean, the Middle East, as we call it today, has been a hotbed of warfare for what, 3,000 years?
Yeah, since the
At
beginning.
least. Yeah.
Well, you go back to Tiliman or Genghis Khan, right? The scholarly debates have said that, he took out during that time around 10% of the human population.
Mm-hmm.
He works for Hillary.
The bloodline flows this way.
And Genghis put his DNA in the rest of the civilization.
Yeah.
The other point.
And I thought they said there was some study done that while he was around, that the oxygen level had rose or something like that around the globe. I don't remember exactly what it was. I'll have to get back into it.
It would make sense, and that ties into, what the hell? I'll just throw this little nugget in, and we'll try to tie it back somewhere. The whole climate change stuff. I don't know about you guys, but there's been so much that's one of the most recent studies and reports done by officialdom was in the UK, and they found that over 60% of all of the measuring devices and systems were out of whack that they were using to measure the temperatures and all the weather in the UK. Then another study report came out. First of all, thinking we have the ability to measure the temperature of the earth with any level of accuracy is so absurdly ridiculous and stupid that all you have to do is look at how are you doing that? How is it working? We don't have the ability right now to cover the earth, some from a satellite perspective. But the reasons they have satellites and they have ground is because neither one of them are reliable. And they use two unreliable systems to check each other and to balance it out. And then they use formulas to come up with the average between them. And that's what's reported. You can't have any experience with math and statistics or any kind of analysis to not look at that and go, so you're using one system you don't trust to check another system you don't trust, because that's what you just said you're doing. And you not only you want to tell me that there's some kind of averaged accuracy, but you can also put that in a little blender over here and we can tell you what it's going to be down the road. Really?
Right.
It can't, no, I'm sorry. Throw in the last 5 years, go a decade at least, but the last 5 have been very acute, of the performance of said science and all of the academic and officialdom and all of the stuff that we base all of our civilized life on. All those sciences are broke. They have failed. Their track record has been abysmal, from health to even at physics right now is going through a major internal crisis. The quantum mechanics and the physicists and the theorists, they are arguing their asses off at each other, and they're all, string theory is like swinging in the wind.
They can
blame. There is so much disruption among officialdom and all of the places that have been given the authority to define the metrics in the matrix. Their track record sucks. They've been proven to be not only stupid, but corrupt. So climate change is just another one of these narratives that they're going, we can get them with this, because at the end of it, we're going to control the air they breathe. What are they going to do? They're going to have to acquiesce to our request. They're going to have to be good little sheep. Unfortunately for them, they didn't think through it very well. And the age of information came trucking on down the road, and a bunch of geezer geeks, people got on there and said, I think I smell something in there. I want to go see what's going on. I want to check this out. I want to research it myself. And we started finding all the shit that they didn't think we'd find. That's why the conspiracy theorists are batting like, 30-0 right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, come on. So that is what I think we are witnessing. We are a part of, and we are contributing to that by doing exactly this, by having the geezer geek gab fest.
It's like the officialdom saying that weather modification, we'd love to do it, but it can't be done. We've been trying, but there's all sorts of patents on weather modification. So
not only that, it's in official records and in different organizations and around, seeding clouds has been around for over 100 years. But here's the thing that I find kind of ironic. I guess it was somebody in Congress said, I think it was that Marjorie person that was started going on about the weather modification.
Oh, Marjorie Green.
Is that who did? Yeah. And was making a big stink about it. And the folks on the left went, ha, can you believe this nut job? Right. And I was sitting there going, okay, wait a minute. Let me get this straight. She's talking about the government weather modification, and you're saying that can't happen. But that's what you want to do to control the climate. So, and you know that can be done, and it's the right thing to do. What's going on here?
Little paradox.
You got a little, huh? What's that? Help me. ¿Cómo se llama? No, that's my name. No comprendo.
No comprendo. Yeah.
No comprendo. I'm sorry.
Well, the government even admits that they used it during Vietnam. They were seeding clouds all up and down the.
Well, it was over earlier this year. They seeded a bunch of clouds over Dubai, and they got, was it 3 years worth of rain in 2 days or some shit like that? I mean, the whole country's underwater.
They're not even seeding clouds anymore, or I mean they are, but the new technology is they're actually figuring out lasers can do the exact same thing inside the clouds.
Yeah, heat up the air.
Yeah.
So just another example of the absurdity that people are having to encounter, and I mean these things have had, I have to give an A+ for effectiveness, because the amount of dissension and contention that this brain staining has done has ripped people apart. It's caused all kinds of social devastation and cultural devastation. And it's all based on bullshit. It's all bullshit. JFK was bullshit. Bobby was bullshit. Martin Luther King was bullshit. Mansons were bullshit. Everything that we've seen, 9/11, even the World Trade Center before 9/11, the bank bullshit in 2008. By the way, did you think about this? Did you know that when we had that financial crash in 2008, that was also the year that the iPhone was introduced?
Wow.
And we know he ain't got no money, but hey, you can borrow towards this $1,200 phone.
So I find that could be some interesting connections or corollaries maybe with those two events. The pandemic was bullshit. The fucking 2020 election was bullshit. All of the actions of, here's another example of what the fuck. So the state of Virginia, is it Virginia or West Virginia? One of the two. It was one of the Virginias. They enacted a law in the state that required them to clean up their voter rolls, get rid of the dead people or the people that don't live there anymore, and whatever, illegals, whatever. So they went and they did that. By law, they went and cleaned up their voter rolls. Well, just a couple of days ago, the federal Department of Justice sued them to reverse it.
Yeah.
Now, why would you sue to reverse cleaning up a voter rolls just before an election. What is the logic there? What could possibly be the reason, the motivation for that?
I mean, either it's going to lead them down the trail back to the source, which they have their fingers in, or they're trying to manipulate the vote. Both, probably.
There's no other. The only reason you would want to do that is to ensure that it's not a trustworthy vote. And that's the whole thing about voter ID and the nonsense that keeps going around about that. And they say that an ID disenfranchises people and they can't vote. It's like, well, but wait a minute. You're supposed to have an ID to vote. So if you don't have an ID, how do we know who you are that's voting? And let's say that you're right. Can you show somebody? Can we interview somebody that has this problem? Can we see somebody? Can you show us somebody that is disenfranchised because they can't get an ID? If they don't have an ID, we've got some questions about how are they hanging? How do you exist without an ID? You can do a lot without one, but to do anything with any oomph or duration, you need an ID.
I mean, illegal immigrants are getting driver's license and IDs.
Right.
So how can somebody else not get one?
Well, and the illegals that are giving them to them. So it's like, well, okay, so why don't you just, if it's such a big deal, why don't you make it, just like a driver's license? You pull up somewhere to get yourself an ID. I mean, it's kind of crazy. But I think
Karen says she doesn't have an ID.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, government ID. All right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, everything we're ID'd. Well, I mean, we're given a number from birth that we're ID'd for. And then when we get old enough, we're issued another number so we can drive. I mean, how many more numbers are you going to issue me?
Well,
you want
we got the death certificate number to come.
You going to tattoo one on my arm next or what?
Oh, that's
I'm
next.
glad you brought that up, Clay. How about a tokenized blockchain, all of your own sovereignty and your identity, all of your assets, all of you digitized, secure in your own little wallet? Would you like that?
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. It's coming. It's coming. And the whole idea of security is going to be significantly mitigated. There's still going to be all kinds of shenanigans and people are going to find all kind of backdoors and loops, but they're going to be smaller and fewer because the security of the tokenized identity on the blockchain. I'll throw this out. Everybody knows basically what the blockchain is, right? It's basically like a spreadsheet. It's a ledger. Just think of a spreadsheet, and that's what a blockchain is. And all of these blocks are, once they're laid, you can't go back and change them. It's always sequential. You can only add to. Otherwise, it breaks the chain. So it's basically just a tracking system of data that gives you the ability to create cryptos. All cryptocurrencies are based off of blockchain. So Bitcoin's a blockchain. All of it is based on a data structure that is immutable. So it's always on a record. That's just how it works. So now if you take that and you say, all right, well, here's my identity. I have my unique block, a key that identifies me. And all of the chains, all the blocks that happen after that identity are chained. So it's always you. So there's authenticity, accountability, and transparency, because it's you. There is no other block that is you.
What happens if you die? What happens to your heirs?
You tie that block to that other asset. It's so the tokenization, when you attach a block identity to something, it becomes a token. And this technology's tokenization has been used. We use it on our credit cards all the time. That's how the banks, they either use keys or they use tokens. And that's how they exchange all the information so you can put in your PIN and buy something at the store. That's all tokenized in the back. It's been that way for 2 decades. So, see, damn it, you fucking threw a good all at me. Now I forgot where I was going.
We're talking about blockchain. What happens if, my question was, what happens if you die?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it was before that.
You're talking how secure they are.
Yeah, but Clay was, I think it was something that Clay said. The sovereignty of the self and being able to manage your own blockchain, your own tokens in your own chain.
Right. You're talking about your own personal ID.
Yes. So that ID will be something that is unique to you. And right now we all have this, but it's in a dozen or 2 or 3 different formats across a dozen or 2 platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So centralizing that or aggregating it into you you are the owner of the assets that are you, that represent you. So you own your car insurance policy, you own your mortgage, you own your bank's access to your bank and to all the other little services, all the subscriptions, all that shit. So that's your data that you're putting on somebody else's system. They own it because it's on their system. It's in that little fine print shit that nobody reads. So if you forget your password or your login or something, you can't get to your data. I don't know about you, but I find that to be a little fucked up. Going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, somebody else is controlling it.
And Karen says, so why can people just not barter? It's easier. Ironically, the tokenization enables the peer-to-peer, the bartering. In fact, I've used the example of bartering to explain how this actually works many times. So you think about barter. I got chickens, you got pigs. We agree on a number. We exchange, we be bartered, right? The key is that the value of the exchange was defined by the individuals involved. It was you, it was me. We agreed on the number, we did the deal. You're done. That's what blockchain and cryptos and the tokenization enables. You don't need a bank. You don't need anything. You don't need an intermediary. That's one of the reasons that it's referred to as disintermediated. There isn't a whole bunch of shit you got to go through. You're on a network, you got an ID, and you agree to the exchange of value, and it's done. You can do that with our fiat, the representation of our fiat money with our fiat system with the money, the currency that we use with paper and coins and shit. But you can't, I'm not paying for YouTube with dollars. I'm giving them digits. I'm not buying stuff at the store with dollars. I'm buying with digits. So that was the point. God, it took a while to get back to that. We're all digitized already. So the bringing all that shit into the control of the self is what is going to be transformative, along with all of the 0 point technology shit that's coming. But we got to get through this herd of idiots and numbnuts and get through this political process, so at least we can start getting that cleaned up, while the rest of us, geezers and geeks alike, set about the task of redefining the way that shit needs to be done, because it's been rethought. We've had to rethink about it, and you look at it and you go, hey, you know what? There's this cool tool called Expert Systems. We might be able to throw that at some of these problems. And I think that's where some of the real power of this new evolution of stuff is just sitting there waiting to just be unleashed. You throw some top-notch AI stuff at the supply chain, like it hasn't already been done, but you do the stuff that's coming for that, it's going to transform industries and processes. And that's exciting. It's basically limited to the imagination of those who prompt. I prompt, therefore I am.
Yeah.
That's
it
going on.
It reminds me of Thunderdome when the little guy keeps saying, I'm master of Bartertown. I run Bartertown until Blaster got taken out.
I'm too old for that, I guess.
Well,
what? You never watched the Mad Max movies?
Yeah.
Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah, but I wasn't totally conscious for any of them.
Okay.
Yeah. My son brought over his nuclear bong.
Nuclear bong.
Nuclear bong.
And train wreck.
Oh.
And I hadn't smoked anything for 16 years. And he said, Dad, I want you to try this. And then one hit, and I turned about the color of G's impression on his black shirt, but that color. And
you do some astral traveling, did you, Jim?
Oh my! I guess I have no idea. My son said it's the funniest thing he's ever seen. His dad is stoned beyond belief. I couldn't even make it upstairs to my bedroom. I mean, I just we're at my then roommate. He's since passed away, unfortunately. Everybody knew him as Spot. He was a hockey player, and he was a state champion, high school, and even in college. And he got hit in the eye with this is before they had very much equipment, right in the eye, and it literally cut the whole thing around here. And for almost 2 years, he had almost like Spot the dog on Little Rascals, had this dark ring around his eye. So everybody called him Spot. So even up until the time he died, everybody, he said, Greg, he would say, no. He says, you're talking about Spot. And I said, yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that. So
I don't know. It was all about not remembering Thunderdome because you did the nuclear.
Oh yeah. We killed a lot of brain cells that year. I mean, from then on.
It was clearly highly effective.
So, especially, I hadn't had any weed at all in 16 years. We had a guy he was E8, guaranteed E9, and this is on traditional weekenders. He was also a technician out there, and they called him in to pin the bottle, and they figure that he'd gone through at least 3 lines of coke within 20 minutes of taking the P test. He was gone. I mean, he lost everything.
Wow.
Didn't have 20 good for retirement from military. He was fired for cause as a state employee technician. So life is interesting, that's for sure.
Well, I'm thinking that, what do we got here? Yeah, we've been on for just over 3.5 hours.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's been a good round. I think we should think about kind of winding her down here.
Yeah, it's just like getting back in the saddle again.
Yeah, I got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, Clay's got a big day tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd like to get up in time tomorrow for my show.
Yeah, there you go. It's always handy.
And tomorrow's football, so I'm not going to do anything.
That's what I'm doing. Well, Jim, you weren't on in the beginning, but I made the announcement that aside from all the foolery I've been doing and playing with tools and stuff, I'm going to be on Fade to Black next week from Monday.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to go have a chat with Jimmy and talk some informatica, some frequencies, and I don't know, probably some ufology.
That's always good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, he's a fun guy to interview, to be interviewed by. I mean, because it just sort of has a natural flow to it.
Yeah, no, I enjoy him, watching him for years and listening to on Coast to Coast as well. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. But so I think I don't know if you guys will be available next Saturday. Before I ask you that, next month we have a birthday celebration that we are committed to for a 50th birthday celebration with the Geezer Geeks. I think it's the 15th of November.
Oh my.
And
so I'll send you the details in Messenger, but we're gonna have a surprise 50th birthday party.
You ready for bed? Mm-hmm.
So if you guys are around next Saturday, I think between now and the election, it's probably worth touching base to see what's changed since the last time we talked within a week, because God knows it's going to change.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I should be able to have at least part of the studio up by next Saturday anyway, so if everything goes well.
Well, I'll tell you guys later in the week, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe B will finally get. What had happened? His internet crashed or something?
Yeah,
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I got just before I came on, I got a text from him that his internet had crashed. There was nothing. I mean, it was just dead.
Well, when the invasion happens, because that's one thing we didn't talk about tonight. Maybe we'll talk about that next. Maybe we'll have more data about it next week. But the coming alien invention is here. We're going to see some alien shit, real alien shit, and it's going to be enough to where people are going to go, I think that's some real alien shit. And I think it's going to happen sooner than later, but it may be just like a glimpse, like a little tidbit, little tasty nugget, just to tantalize those that are out there watching and waiting. Because, there's a whole bunch of us, because we've been doing it for a long fucking time. Right? Show me some show me a glimpse. Just lift the skirt a little bit. Give me a peek.
Yeah,
I'm a simple man.
Beam me up, Scotty.
There you go. All right, gentlemen. Well, let's call it a night and let all these poor people that have been hanging around just waiting to see when we were going to end. Let them go home.
let him go home.
Sounds good. I'm glad I was able to get back on. And I really do enjoy my Saturday nights. I enjoy you guys. I look forward to it. I see a lot of the same names as far as people who commenting. So, Clay, it looked like, your adventure is going to begin in here a couple of days. And
oh, yeah.
It's a straight shot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any curves.
No.
Anyhow, so that's going up Highway 54 from Tucumcari to Wichita. Someone got a straight edge on the map. Well, like this, there's a few zigs and zags around towns. I mean, you could look down the road and it disappeared into infinity. You actually see the you can see the curvature of the earth. It's very interesting. Yeah. So, but I thoroughly enjoy my Saturday nights. I really do, and I thank you for being part of it. I thank you all for letting me be part of it. So.
Well, we are a charitable group, and we know when we see needy people, we encourage them.
Oh, fuck! Yeah, I know. Yeah, God forbid. You'll be there someday. I hope. But I'll still be around to watch, and I'll laugh. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I'm gonna close this out. Stop the live stream. We'll say our chows on the other side. Everybody who came by tonight, thank you. Thanks for chiming in, being a part of it, adding to it.
It's fun being back.
Putting up with the foolery and otherwise, because we are pros, don't you know? That's how we do it. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Keep your head on a swivel, your eyes and ears open, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Sounds good to me. Take care.